difference between a watch and a warning. A warning means it is occurring. There's a Doppler radar indicated tornado. Take action now to save your property and your family. These are your tornado safety tips. If you live in Chester County, go to the basement or an interior room of your home and wait until these storms pass. If you don't have a basement, of course, you go into that interior room and stay away from the windows. That is the best advice. So in your home, of course, if you are in the tornado warned area, you are going to obviously seek shelter, stay away from the windows. You don't want to be anywhere that is near the windows. You want to be right in that interior room, a staircase, a hallway, a closet, the bathroom, anywhere away from the windows. And of course, the best place as always is in the basement. So once again, we do have that tornado warning in effect for Chester County until 4:45. Elsewhere, we have a tornado watch in effect, and that is until 10 o'clock tonight. Severe thunderstorms are still expected. The greatest risk of tornadoes in the southern part of Chester County and our suburbs, even South Jersey and Delaware, and that tornado threat is going to continue until 10 o'clock tonight. Right now, you're looking also live at a picture of Westchester, where heavy rain has been falling throughout the day, and we do have a flash flood warning in effect. We also encourage you to download our FOX29 weather app, of course, to track the storms and for any warnings when you are away from your TV. The best advice is just to stay inside, obviously an interior room of your home, and just wait until this dangerous storm passes. Now, as we look a little bit closer, we're going to get a track on this storm. I'm going to take a zoom in, and you can see the center of the storm right now, that Doppler radar indicated tornado, 14 miles northwest of Elkton, Maryland, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. The radar indicated the rotation. Flying debris will be dangerous. Anyone caught without shelter, mobile homes will be damaged, or just roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely as well. The areas of concern with this are Coatesville, Oxford, also into Parksburg, Homeville, Mount Vernon, even into South Coatesville and Medina. So we're going to take a zoom in. I'm going to show you our area of concern here. The storm is moving up from the south. You can see lower Oxford. As we take a closer zoom in, you can see the other areas through London Grove, into Highland, East Marlboro, New Garden, this whole area right here in that warning area. So as we take a zoom out, you can see the warning area right here in Chester County, that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:45. And when we look at the storm, you can see as we take a zoom in, this area has been inundated with extremely heavy rain, and that heavy rain is going to continue through the evening. So we're going to stop the radar and actually do a track on this, and you'll be able to see the rotation. Being a Doppler radar indicated tornado, you can see this early rotation marker from Ultimate Doppler. And as we get a speed and direction on this storm is moving toward the northeast, as I mentioned, at 35 miles an hour. And at that speed and direction, it is going to be moving at a fairly decent speed toward the north and the east. So New London, 423. As we look at other areas, Pipe Creek, the storm will be near you at 4:35. Even Hocassin, if the storm sticks together, it will be to you by about 4:38. So once again, a Doppler radar indicated tornado is right over the southern part of Chester County. Hi, Jason.
Hi, yeah, Kathy, just we're getting ready for our newscast coming up at 5. We're going to stay on the air here and just give you a little breather here as we continue to warn folks in Chester County about this tornado warning till 4:45. And I know you're tracking, not only where it is now, but where it is headed. Hard to predict, but, you had warned us of the potential for tornadoes, and here we are. Now, you said there's a warning in Chester, and the folks in New Jersey you mentioned are also in harm's way, or at least will be shortly. Where do you see this going?
Well, what we're seeing right now is any of these cells that are rotating up from the south are going to give us a big problem. And as I put the radar into motion, you're going to be able to see this dragging up from the south, and that is our main threat. These are bands to the south and east of the core of the heavy rain, and that is what we're looking at as far as giving us a big problem. So right here you can see all of this lightning and this line of storms moving toward the north, and that is what is going to be that tornadic threat. We saw a tornado warning in effect for parts of Baltimore and Washington, through Annapolis, Cecil County, Maryland, and now we have this threat in Chester County. So it's this line of showers and thunderstorms, and you know from the past remnants that we've had with other storms, the remnants of Fred and the remnants of Henri, it creates this rotation as the storm moves northward. These outer bands are what we have to look out for, and this was a Doppler radar indicated tornado. A tornado was not spotted on the ground as of yet. It could very well be, and we're looking at the cell right now moving toward the northeast at 35 miles an hour, and that's a pretty decent speed, Jason. And you can see the storm will be near Newark at 4:24, Christiana at about 4:32, to move toward the north and east. So that's a pretty good speed. If it holds together, it will even be over the Wilmington area by 4:44, and this tornado warning in effect until 4:45.
Yeah, and I remember you just showed us a little while ago, and I wonder if you could bring it up again, the diagram of where to go in your house. There's a potential for power outages out there, so if you've got family or friends in Chester County, maybe call them up and let them know that you need to get to the interior of your home. I know a lot of people tend to take these lightly sometimes, but as you mentioned, the Doppler indicated warning indicating it is being spotted on your radar, not necessarily with the naked eye just yet, but there in the green is where your family should be right now in Chester County. Should not be taken lightly, and again, this is for another 20 minutes or so. Basement, obviously, yeah, I love this because, you know, as a dad and a bunch of kids myself, you just want to gather the family and go there until, you know, and by the way, we're sending out alerts on our app as well. So if you can't watch us on television, if the power is out, they can still get updates and alerts on our FOX29 weather app here.
Absolutely, and that's obviously a lifesaver if you're away from the TV, because it's the only way you're going to know that these storms obviously are coming. So this is our Doppler radar indicated tornado, and we're expecting this cell to move toward the north and the east and continue through the county and possibly extend a little bit closer to Delaware County as well. So we're keeping a careful eye on this tornado warning. We also have indications of, in Chester County, looking at South Pottstown, southeast of Pottstown, South Pottstown, reports of flash flooding. We have multiple reports of flash flooding, even along the Neshaminy Creek at Langhorne and the Perkiomen Creek at Greater Ford. So the torrential rain is going to make it difficult to get anywhere. So we just ask everyone to stay inside and wait until these storms pass. If you live in this warning area, please stay inside and wait until these dangerous storms pass. We're talking about torrential rain, obviously. We're talking about extensive strong winds that will take down trees, take down power lines. If you have power, just make sure that you charge your phone and all of those electronic devices along Route 1 in Lower Oxford. This is an area that is in our warned area along 926, 41, through Elkview, Eddington, Homeville, Upper Oxford, through West Field. This is the area of concern as the storm moves to the north and east at 35 miles an hour. That's a pretty decent speed, Jason. I mean, we're talking about you have very strong winds within a potential tornado, and it's moving northeast at 35 miles an hour, which adds to the speed of the storm itself.
And we actually want to get to our Jeff Cole, who is on the phone now in Chadds Ford. Jeff, what are you saying where you are?
We're actually at the Brandywine River Museum of Art, which folks in this area will know is a beautiful museum that sits right here on the Brandywine River here. The river snakes right by it. I mean, the river is sort of at normal length, maybe a normal strength or size right now, but they're actually expecting it to rise to 14.7 feet here. That means the river will come right up over its banks, the folks at the Art Museum believe, and will rise up along the back wall of this museum. They actually have a floodgate that they've designed that goes over one of their entrances here, and there are tubes that come out of it that where water is pumped out of when the water rises here. We don't have a lot in the way of wind. We do have a good amount of periodic heavy rain. It will really pelt hard here, then stop, then slow down a little bit, and then come flying back. Folks, earlier in the day, we were actually in Darby Borough, and folks who know Delaware County and know that community know that Darby Creek has a tendency to rise, and when it rises, it is angry, and it takes out low-lying areas. There are lots of businesses there and some apartment buildings there. There's a home for the elderly in Darby Borough, and when the creek rises, folks who lived in this area will know and remember that it has a tendency to take all those things, that it floods and it floods out the center there. They're obviously concerned about that happening again. We were there around noon today. You could already see that they had barricades that they had at least put in position there to possibly put up, and they had also opened a shelter in Darby Borough as well. But as for Chadds Ford, where we are right now, real concerned about the Brandywine jumping up and coming over its banks, and we are watching pretty significant rain pelt on us here.
Yeah, and we're looking, Kathy's got your area, Jeff, highlighted here where he is, and you can see torrential rains. It's off and on, Kathy, as he's been reported out there, just, wind gusts and torrential rain followed by nothing, and that's what you're seeing on Ultimate Doppler.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we do have that tornado warning in effect for Chester County, and the area of Chester County we're talking about is the southern part, but this storm was a Doppler radar indicated tornado. It was located 14 miles northwest of Elkton, Maryland. It's moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. So the areas we're talking about are Oxford, even into Coatesville, Parkersburg, Homeville. This storm will be near London Grove at 4:34. It will be near New Garden at 4:40. It will be near Kennett if it stays together at about 4:46. So this was a Doppler radar indicated tornado. We look at shear in the atmosphere. We also look at other indicators to see how much spin is in the atmosphere. I do want to show you that one of the things that we look at on Doppler radar too is you can see this bowing of the radar here. See how it almost looks like a comma, this dark red part here? This is usually an indication when the radar bulges of wind damage, of the radar indicating that there's something going on here and it could be extremely strong winds. And that's something that we're going to carefully look at as well, because the areas to the east of this area, London Grove, West Marlborough, New Garden, into Newlyn, this area could experience some extreme winds, even Edton. It's over there right now in Elkview. So once again, a Doppler radar indicated tornado. We know there are extreme strong winds in there. We know there are torrential rains falling right now, and it is accumulating on the ground very quickly. So please, if you live in the southern part of Chester County, just stay inside and wait until the storm passes. This storm has a history of damaging winds, and it also came up from the southwest where we had a lot of warm, humid air and a history of tornadoes through the Baltimore, Washington area, Annapolis. This came from a northeastern part of Maryland, and it's continuing into the southern part of our county. So we can't stress enough to have everybody just stay inside, I'd say, for the rest of the afternoon and into the nighttime hours, Jason, just to be safe. When you look at the larger view of the radar, what's going on, I mean, look at this. This is a radar that it is pouring everywhere in southeastern Pennsylvania. If you live in South Jersey, you may be saying, okay, this isn't a big deal. But from Philadelphia north and west, it is a very big deal, and South Jersey will be seeing some heavy rain as the next couple hours progress.
Yeah, and no one will escape this storm here, this remnants of Ida here in the northeast. As you see, it is just now really starting to take shape in our area. Once again, if you're just joining us, tornado warning issued for Chester County until 4:45, so another 15 minutes. But even after 4:45, we will not be out of the woods by any stretch. We were showing you a ground shot there. I'd like some clarification on where that was, but as Jeff Cole reported, I don't know if you're still there, Jeff, and you can maybe reiterate the conditions where you are. He's in Chadds Ford, and of course you said southern Chester is where we're seeing a bulk of the storm right now, Kathy?
Yes, that is where we are seeing the tornado warning. That is where we're seeing some of the heaviest rain coming up from the south, and that is our concern. I mean, when you look at this particular area of rain, you can see this heavy rain and everything coming up from the south kind of looping around. So we have rotation where you see this yellow indicator. That is rotation within the thunderstorm, and that is an indication on Doppler radar that you could potentially have a tornado, and that's why the National Weather Service issued this tornado warning until 4:45. So the area that we're looking at in the red zone, you can see right here, is lower Oxford through Eddington, which it's occurring over that area right now, moving toward the northeast along 841, 41, 796. So this is what we're concerned about in this area. So if you live in this area of Chester County, please just be aware that there is a potential tornado that is moving towards your region. Parksburg in the path of the storm as well as in Coatesville. One of the things we do look at is shear, which is the speed and direction of the wind as you go up in the atmosphere. You may be familiar with that when we talk about aircraft and air travel, that wind shear that is dangerous. Well, we look at that as well when we're talking about any type of tornadic activity. So look at this, coming up from Cecil County, Maryland through Rising Sun, and just follow the blue up toward Upper Oxford, and there is the track of our storm that is moving toward the northeast. So that is a big indication of some rotation going on in that part of our region. We do have that threat for tornadic activity right through 10 o'clock tonight. As we talked about earlier, if you live in that part of Chester County, go to the basement and interior room of your home and make sure you get away from the windows, because flying debris is one of the biggest problems in a tornadic situation as well.
Hey, Kathy, this is Shayna just coming into the studio. I wonder if you can give us a reminder, as we've been watching Ida move really up this part of the country for days now, what kinds of severe weather has it spawned on its way up here?
Well, always with these types of storms, you will get some type of tornadic activity drawn with the outer bands, and that's what's happening right now. So you can see it's not in the bulk of the rain that's over parts of the Poconos and the Lehigh Valley and Berks County. It's these almost, you could call them like streamers coming up from the south, being dragged up around the storm. Right here, you have another one here, dragged around the storm, and those are what would be producing the tornadoes. So there's a lot of spin in the atmosphere right now. We call that helicity. We talked about that a lot yesterday, like where is the best spin? And today, the best spin is through South Jersey and Delaware over through Baltimore and Washington, and that seems to be where most of these are originating.
And Kathy, we have the spin you're talking about. Obviously, this warning in Chester County is in effect. We're going to be watching for tornadoes all night, but heavy rain is a really big part of this as well. I mean, certain areas, this is going to be a tough pill to swallow as they're still cleaning up from damage from previous storms this summer.
Exactly. Lower Bucks County, a huge problem through Bensalem and Croydon, and with a non-related tropical system. It was not a tropical system. We had severe flooding there. So our whole area has been saturated for the past couple months. So the ground is already wet. It's not going to take a lot to take down trees and power lines with wind because of how saturated the ground is, and it's not going to take much to have any type of flooding. That's why we're seeing flood warnings popping up over a large part of the region already, for the simple fact that the ground has already been so wet, and now we're looking at potential for a lot of additional rain. So here's a look at our flood warning area. You can see we have flood warnings already in effect for parts of, let's say, Newcastle County, Delaware, and Delaware County throughout our northern western suburbs, and also the Lehigh Valley and Berks County. So we have to remind everybody, aside from the severe threat, a bigger threat tonight is going to be the flash flooding. So, you know, never drive across a road that is covered with water. I want to draw your attention to this eastern shore of Maryland cell right here. There is another tornado warning that's to the south, and the reason I'm drawing it to your attention is because this could go right into Sussex County in Delaware. If you have any friends that are down at the beach, Rehoboth Beach or Lewis, Delaware, like this cell could potentially go right through the southern part of Maryland and right into Delaware within the next half hour or so. So we're watching multiple cells that could be moving into our region. But right now, the focus is this tornado warning, this potential tornado that is in Chester County right now.
We're getting a really good indication of the downpour, the torrential rain there. The bottom right of your screen is Doylestown in Bucks, and looks like there's a cell moving through there right now with that flag moving through. That is a big-time deluge of rain right there. But on the other screen was Westchester as well. It also gives you an indication of how quickly this can change. 1 minute it's sprinkling, the next minute you are, you got wind and rain to deal with. And of course, we've been talking about the potential for flooding. So this is not just a Chester County situation here. It is our entire viewing area, although Chester County is going through that tornado warning for another 9 minutes or so. Do you expect this to be extended at all, Kathy?
You know what? Right now I don't expect it to be extended, but we'll just keep a careful eye on it. This is, as I mentioned, the same cell that was in Maryland going through the southern part of the county, and tornadoes don't usually last that long. They usually obviously lose some of their speed and their fuel, so we'll actually see. We do have that flash flood warning for Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Newcastle County. You were talking about that deluge of rain, that flooding rain, torrential downpours, and that's what we have right now through Pottstown, Upper Providence, Lower Selford, along 476, the Northeast Extension. And you know what, Shayna, the problem with this is that it's raining everywhere, and it's raining everywhere heavily. It's not one county or an isolated cell. It's covering several counties. That goes into your rivers and your streams and your creeks, and that all feeds into the rivers.
Right, and it's just got nowhere to go once the ground is a certain amount of saturated. We were just looking at Doylestown, as Jason pointed out, and it seemed in the 30 seconds we were looking at that shot, it drastically changed. You could really see it starting to pick up. There it is again. You see that flag blow, and so the winds aren't really huge gusts there yet, but just visibility has increasingly gone down. It is just pouring out there, kind of sideways rain, and we're seeing that around the area. Typically, or at least this summer, we've seen so many different pop-up storms, and maybe one part of our region is getting hit, but right now we're just seeing really every single part of the region, Kathy, is under this storm on the radar.
It absolutely is. So you're talking about rain rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour at least. That will create the flash flooding very quickly, and the streams and creeks will begin to rise quickly as a result as well. And we have to be concerned about our low-lying areas, places that have poor drainage, and we know many neighborhoods that have that, and that will be the concern. So this is the latest track of the tornado warning that we have for the southern part of Chester County. The storm, the rotating thunderstorm, is moving northeast at 35 miles an hour, and at that speed, it's practically at East Fellfield, like knocking on your doorstep. It will be in Coatesville at 4:40 within a minute. It will be in West Calm at 4:41, Goosetown at 4:43, and then East Marlboro by 4:46. So this severe cell showed some rotation, and that's why the National Weather Service put out that tornado warning. So it will possibly be allowed to expire in the next 6 minutes. We'll keep a careful eye on that, and you'll hear a little ping in the background when I get the update. Yeah, and of course we're going to keep our eye on power outage issues here throughout our area. As far as your family's concerned, as you watch this at home, prepare for the worst, expect the best. Get all the batteries and flashlights out right now while you still have power, if you still have power, and expect that power to go out just depending on where you are and just what the wind gusts are looking like. As you take a live look here on one of our ground units here up top, windshield wipers going. This is on one of the roads. The roads are saturated. The traffic is heavy. A lot of people trying to race to get home to their families just to be together here in this situation. Being out and about from now for several hours is just not recommended. Absolutely not. And one of the things we talked about in our newsroom in our afternoon meeting is you almost have to treat this like a snowstorm. Like in the snowstorm, we'd get everybody get home from work, get in the house, stay inside. And that's what we're talking about, because the potential for widespread flash flooding. I think many communities will be facing that. It's not going to be an isolated incident. So it's something that we have to really be vigilant about with this particular storm and take this is one to take very seriously. And Kathy, maybe you can give us the reminder that it's always good to remind ourselves all of those rules of thumb, whether it be turn around, don't drown, or even if you are at home and you're under a warning, where to go, how long to stay there. Give us a reminder. Well, you know, always with these types of storms, you want to wait until the storm passes. And this is a case from Philadelphia to the north and east, or north and west as well, that it's not going to end for several hours. The severe weather threat is not going to end until about 10 o'clock tonight. So that's about 5 more hours. So that is something that you just kind of have to order in, hunker down, turn on the TV, watch FOX29, and let us, you know, take it from there. You can see on this radar the rotation coming up from the south, and if I could try to circle this, you can actually see what the Weather Service was looking at with the rotation, with the storms coming up from the south, and right here you can see that rotation as it rotates in from the south right into Chester County. There's a little bit of a spin there, and that's what they saw that indicated that there would be some type of rotation with this particular thunderstorm.
Yeah, we just want to give folks a little bit of an update on power outages. We got over 1,000 in Chester, about 1,100 in Bucks, and then all the other counties experiencing very minimal power outages at this point. So that's somewhat good news. I expect that number to rise as the evening goes on, and as you've got that arrow, you really do see that spin right there as you fixate your eyes on where this storm is going. You mentioned it's moving at about 35 miles per hour. I wonder, is that would you consider that a fast-moving storm? And if so, is that a good thing to get this out of here?
Yeah, you know what it is? It is a rather fast-moving storm in speed, and you can see this area right here that we're looking at, which would be the heart of the storm. So it would move in and out of the area faster. That is good news. And we're hoping that it's weakening as it moves northward. But the storm will be by Kennett at 446, West Bradford at 450, Westchester at 456, and we hope that will be at a much weakened state, and Willistown by 507. So this tornado warning could possibly turn into a severe thunderstorm warning as it continues to move toward the north and the east. We've seen storms in the past that have lasted on the ground quite a while, so we never want to assume anything, but we're hoping that this is going to be allowed to expire in 3 minutes.
Kathy, is it safe to assume that if it does expire in 3 minutes, Chester County is not necessarily in the clear for the rest of the night because of the sheer size of this storm?
Exactly. And you know what? We're seeing more storms rotating up from the south as well. So this is just one rotation that's pushing toward the northeast. So it definitely does not mean that we're out of the woods in any stretch, because there's more coming up from the south.
And as you mentioned, this is a Doppler indicated tornado warning, so it has not been seen. We have no reports of any visuals, Kathy, of any kind of rotation?
No, the only thing I'm getting into the Weather Center is just the flooding. And that's why it's so important to stay inside and not venture out in your car and try to get on the highway. Those low-lying areas of the highways, you know how hard that rain can come down, and there is nowhere for the water to drain, and you could be stuck in the water, and we don't want anyone to be in harm's way with water rescues or anything like that, because we're seeing some significant flooding. Everything is flooding very quickly out there this afternoon.
Doesn't take very long. I mean, just too much rain in a short period of time with already saturated ground. We're about 45 seconds away from this tornado warning potentially expiring here in Chester. As again, as Shana mentioned, we would not be out of the woods once we hit 445. It's just the expiration of this particular tornado warning, and we'll see where this rotation and this cell is headed. And you anticipate more warnings tonight, Kathy?
Absolutely. At least, a couple of tornado warnings. The National Weather Service had said there is a greater risk of tornado warnings, obviously, because some areas saw sunshine and warmer temperatures today. Also because we have a lot of rotation. Anytime you have any type of tropical remnants, we've seen this over the past month with remnants from Fred and remnants from Henri, that anytime you can never let your guard down until the storm is out of the area. So that is something that we're going to definitely carefully watch.
And I'm sure our viewers do know, but always a good idea to remind yourself that when we are on the air and talking about a warning like this, it is different than a watch. Even if it hasn't been seen on the ground, the radar is indicating that it is potentially imminent. So if you are in that area under a warning, which as of right now I believe is still Chester County, we'll see if it's allowed to expire.
Yes, it has.
There you go.
This is my map right here. It has been allowed to expire, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning to the west in Lancaster County, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that to see if that moves eastward. But yes, the tornado warning for southern Chester County has been allowed to expire.
All right. Well, we're going to keep a very close eye on this. As Kathy just said, this is potentially going to be a very hectic night. It is likely that we will have more tornado warnings throughout the night. So make sure if you're by a TV, you got it switched to FOX29. We're going to have the very latest starting at 5 o'clock, but also the FOX29 weather app. It's very handy. You can zoom right in on the radar down to your neighborhood to see exactly what was going on.
And we'll see you at 5 o'clock. We'll see you at 5 o'clock for the very latest here on FOX29. Back to regular programming now.
I do want to show you exactly where we have the tornado warning that just occurred. Tornado warning in effect for Kent, Newcastle, Delaware. This is brand new, guys, so let's take a look at this. A tornado warning in effect right now, issued by the National Weather Service for Kent, Newcastle County in Delaware, and counties in Maryland as well. So I'm going to take a zoom in and show you exactly where that is going on. I'm actually looking up the information right now that has just been issued by the National Weather Service. So this just in. Tornado warning in effect for southwestern Newcastle County and northern Delaware and northwestern Kent County and central Delaware. This is until 5:45 this afternoon. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Goldsboro, or 14 miles west of Dover, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. And if you look at our ultimate Doppler right here, there is the rotation. You can see right there with the tornado warning, and that tornado warning is being extended right now, and you can see the area of concern through the western part of Sussex County, and they're expecting this to move toward the northeast and make it into parts of Newcastle County, and of course also through Kent County as well, guys. So here it is, another tornado warning that has just popped up on Ultimate Doppler. As we look at the area of concern, obviously we always see this highlighted in red where we have our storms, and this is the cell that we're talking about right here. So it is a cell that's coming from the eastern shore of Maryland, moving up through the western part of Kent County, Delaware. That also includes Smyrna, Cheswold, Kenton, Hartley, Twin Eagles Farms, and along Route 13. There's a very famous route as you head down toward the beaches, and it also extends into the southern part of Newcastle County. Once again, a tornado warning in effect for the southern part of Kent County and Newcastle County, Delaware, until 5:45. The problem with this, we're talking about flying debris that will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. You could have trees down, obviously power lines down, damage to roofs, windows, and even your vehicles with this particular storm. So the areas of concern are Smyrna, Clayton, Cheswold, Hartley, Delaney Corner, Green Spring, Kenton, Henderson, Marydell, and Templesville. If you live in this area, please go to an interior room of your home and wait until this dangerous storm passes. So here you go, guys. We have more torrential rain, and we also have 2 more tornado warnings, one in the southern part of the state of Delaware. There is a corner of Sussex County, Delaware, and then we have a second, obviously, which is in Kent and Newcastle counties until 5:45.
And Kathy, you're watching these warnings develop to the south of Philly at this point, just after we did have a warning in Chester County, which expired 15-20 minutes ago. But as you were saying a little bit earlier, the size of this storm, this covers our entire area, and it will be with us through the night. So even though that warning expired in Chester County, you're not necessarily in the clear yet, as we are already starting to see warnings develop south of there. So that could continue to happen. There could be more. And at this point, Kathy, you are expecting a number of warnings tonight, correct?
Yes, I mean there's 3 tornado warnings right there. That we just had one. Obviously, we had that shear tracker on for Chester County, and then this is the other cell that's moving across the eastern shore of Maryland. And these trackers, where you see the blue, follow the blue. That is indicating shear, or this change of wind direction and speed in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that creates the twisting. So if you follow this blue line from the eastern shore of Maryland into the western part of Kent County, Delaware, that is why the National Weather Service is saying, okay, this is one of the indicators we have to issue a tornado warning, and that's why you have that warning in that part of the state of Delaware right now.
And let's bring up that shot on the top right. That's Wilmington, Newcastle County, one of the areas that is in harm's way, if you want to call it that. Tornado warning. This is just a downpour right now. Really, visibility is not good here in Newcastle County, as folks there are now under a tornado warning. Now is the time to get into the interior sections of your home. Bring your family together and just, expect the worst, but hope for the best in this situation here. This is a fast-moving storm, but one that does have folks in Newcastle County, among others, in a tornado warning for another about 40 minutes. So families will be waiting for this to pass. We're going to continue to look into power outages in the area as well. And again, this is going to be a long-term event here for the next several hours of the evening in our viewing area.
And one thing that we have to be so aware of is road conditions right now. Very dangerous time to even be on the roads. If you can, just go ahead and stay home, get to those interior rooms. But if you do have to be on the road, you have to be extremely careful. And I believe we have Bob Kelly joining us now to give us an update. Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, you're right, Shannon. You know, it's 5:07 right now, and a lot of folks are making their way home from work. The kids, the later crew got out at 3:30. Here's a live look at Route 13 down in Dover, Delaware, the area that Kathy just said is under this tornado warning. This is just north of Dover Speedway, to kind of give you an idea. And again, it's an open area where, again, they're moving the cameras around, trying to see any type of funnel cloud or any activity at all. But as you can see right there, looks like it's not raining real heavy at the moment. But again, that's Route 13 down there in Dover, Delaware. Here's Route 30. This is the Route 30 in Chester County, the area that we've been watching for the last hour or so. You can kind of make out that bottom right vehicle there, just kind of seeing how high the water is on Route 30. This is Lancaster Avenue, which is local Route 30, right there through Chester County as you roll through some of the areas like Coatesville. That was an area that I heard Kathy mention. I'm trying to pick up as many cameras as I can going off of her cues there. Here's a live look at Route 100 in Chester County, just north of Route 30. Again, these are the areas in Chester County that it's just been a deadly, just coming down like cats and dogs. I'm here in Malvern, and I can barely see out the front window here. And again, the storm warnings and the alerts are going off on my cell phone nonstop. The Northeast Extension also closed between Quakertown and Lansdale. And then there's a live look at the Girard Point double-decker bridge near the airport. So we'll keep scanning the cameras, and we'll stay with it all the way till we go off the air. Back to you guys.
And I don't know if you mentioned it here, Bob. I see an overturned car over on I-676 at the Route 30 exit, it looks like. So again, people aren't slowing down, you know?
Now, the problem is that it comes in so fast and so quick. I know it's easier said than done to take your time, but with so much rain in such a short period of time, hydroplaning could be an issue. And yep, speed certainly adds to that. Here's a live look downtown Philly, just in gridlock from end to end. Although I hate to see the gridlock, I think the gridlock is a help when it comes to knocking the speeds down and preventing some of these overturned vehicles. Here's a live look at the 42 freeway heading home in New Jersey. Nothing but brake lights pretty much from the Walt Whitman Bridge all the way down to Route 55. But again, as Kathy mentioned, that tornado warning, I'm going to flip back up. This is Route 13, just north of Dover, Delaware. Of course, you got the Speedway down there as a locator, Route 1. But again, Route 13 and Route 1. Doesn't look like it's raining real hard. But again, we have that tornado warning as we see it there listed on our screen up until 5:45 this afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much, Bob. And again, folks, the best choice, if you can make it, is to just stay off the roads if at all possible. Again, upper right corner of your screen is Newcastle County. Very low visibility, heavy rain coming right down. And there is a tornado warning in effect there, as well as Kent and some other counties in Delaware and Maryland. But we do expect more warnings to be in effect throughout the night into the Pennsylvania area as well. Do we have Kelly Rule with us
We
yet?
have Jeff Cole in Chadsford, and we just had an expiration of a tornado warning in Chester County. Jeff, where you are, what are you seeing?
Well, when we were in Chadsford, we were actually parked in an area under a lot of trees. We thought it might be well advised to get out of there, so we've jumped on Route 1 and we've come up towards Media a little bit. So first, let me tell you a little bit about what we were seeing in Chadsford. Not long after I spoke to you on the phone the first time around, Jason, it seemed to calm down a bit, and then all of a sudden the rain just let go, and there was some heavy thunder and some lightning that we saw, and suddenly now the wind has really picked up. It certainly was picking up out there in Chadsford. As I said, we were parked under trees and thought the better idea is to get out of there. The Brandywine River, of course, runs right down there in Chadsford, near the Brandywine River Museum of Art where we were. They're expecting that river to jump up to 14.7 feet and likely have to be held back from jumping into the museum by a big floodgate that they have set up there. Either way, we've come up and moved towards Media and pulled off under an overhang here to get some shelter, and I'm actually standing outside now. The rain is still pretty good here, coming down pretty hard. Traffic moving along what I think is Route 1 out here is moving along. But it's surprising that the wind is quite strong. So some debris in the air we see is pushing the water along, a lot of debris from trees and all down. I would say at this point we're in a little bit of a lull, but it slows, and then you get very heavy rain along with wind. It slows, and then it sort of repeats itself. But I'm standing outside here now under an overhang. It's warm, it's wet, it's windy, folks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. Stay dry, stay safe out there. We do have a quick update on power outages. We are starting to see those, and there are a few thousand in Chester County, a few hundred in Delco, Montco, and the Philadelphia area, but that number will almost certainly go up tonight. As of right now, though, a few thousand in Chester without power.
And we'll have to check into our Delaware communities and counties as well, because that is the county, the counties, I should say, with Kent and Newcastle now in a tornado warning until 5:45. Of course, we just heard from Jeff on the phone. Most of our reporters will be appearing via phone. It's obviously the priority to keep them safe, and right now on camera activity is not the best of ideas. Some of them are in their cars, as you see in the bottom right of your screen. The windshield wipers are flowing, the roads are wet. Of course, you know, we were talking to Bob about, you know, taking it slow, and I certainly understand the need to want to get home to your family quickly, just to be together. I certainly understand that, but right now it's just safe to stay slow. And so, Kathy, take it away here as we follow this storm heading northeast.
Yes. So look at ultimate Doppler radar, and we talked about this with the Chester County tornado warning, that we're following these lines, these streamers that are being pulled up from the south, and this is where we're getting those tornado warnings from. You can see that line of thunderstorms being dragged up from the south, originating here and then sliding over to the east. So Baltimore and Washington got hit hard from this line of storms earlier, and now it's our turn. They're all shifting toward the east. There is another line that we have to be watchful of, and that is a little bit farther to the west right now. So a line over Baltimore and Washington right there, heading possibly up the I-95 corridor back into Chester County. So there's another line, and then we're watching this one that's to the east of Harrisburg. You can see all this dragging up from the south, and those are the lines of storms that could produce tornadoes. So we are seeing the National Weather Service is continuing the tornado warning for Kent and Sussex County, Delaware, until 5:45. And if I take off this radar and show you the areas of concern, and I'll take off the lightning as well, you'll be able to see the warning areas. So you have multiple warning areas. Obviously, the two tornado areas right now, this is southern Kent County, northern Sussex County, and of course the northern part of Kent County and the southern part of Newcastle County under the tornado warnings until 5:45 this afternoon. It was a Doppler radar indicated tornado with obviously potential for damaging winds and also torrential rain. We do have to talk about this. This is brand new. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. That's what it looks like right now. And we're
Delco, right?
We're going to take a careful look at this. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Mercer County, Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware, Montgomery, and the Philadelphia County until 6 o'clock this afternoon. Obviously, a bunch of severe thunderstorms moving toward the southeast, and that is going to obviously continue into the evening hours.
Kathy,
and look at that.
About every 20 seconds we hear a ding in the background. Are those watches and warnings that are popping up?
Yeah, they're all popping in. That last ding and that red patch is a flash flood warning that has just come out from the National Weather Service. So we're looking at flash flooding that is going to be occurring with the heavy rain. Oh, tornado warning just popped up. Okay, here we go.
And
tornado
right
warning in effect for Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties. This just in until 5:45. The very latest coming in the Weather Center as we speak. I hear all those buzzers and alarms.
These are our phones right on the desk.
Our phones are on silent, but you can't turn that off for good reason. They really want to let you know that a warning is in effect. Of course, we're in Philadelphia, right on cue, Kathy. We just started to hear the thunder over the studio here as we saw that red square pop up over Philadelphia.
So we're talking about a widespread tornado warning here in Delaware, Montco, and Philadelphia counties.
Yes, so let's look at it on the Doppler radar, and we can show you exactly where this is. I'm going to lift those warnings up so you're able to see the Doppler radar. So Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. The National Weather Service has said that a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Fulcroft, or 10 miles west of Gloucester City, and it's moving northwest at 50 miles an hour. And as I put on all of our indicators, you'll be able to see exactly what they're talking about. You can see it right here moving toward the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So we're watching that cell move very quickly toward the east-northeast. And I'm going to slow down this radar so you can see this in the past hour, and we can get an eye on this cell. And you can see the rotation right there. The storm is 10 miles west of Gloucester City, and it is moving east at, northeast at 50 miles an hour. So we're talking about Philadelphia, Norristown, Chester, East Norriton, Yeadon, Conshohocken, Swarthmore, Jenkintown, Narberth, Lansdale, Wissinoming, Darby Township, Morris Park, Bryn Mawr on the main line, Trout Lake, Tacony, Broomall, and Kensington.
I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people there in those
Yes.
densely populated areas. And this is, and what time is this expiring?
This is until 5, my warning, till 5:45.
Okay.
So we're in this for a while.
Yeah, at least another 25 minutes. And, if you've got family in these areas, let them know. I'm sure everybody got their warnings on their phone. As Shana mentioned, you can't mute your phone from these things. That warning is jarring, isn't it?
Yes.
You get that on your
Yeah,
phone.
that warning means it is imminent. Let's get back to Bob now, who's keeping a close eye on the roads as this storm is changing. The conditions are changing all around us. Bob, what are you seeing out there?
Well, I'm following Kathy's lead here and watching the area where we have this tornado warning. And let's go right to that camera shot. This is a live look at the Blue Route 476 just outside of Marple. And you can see the heavy rain coming down, ponding on the roadway, and just the darkness that is just, we had daylight there just a second ago. And again, as this storm kind of moves on over, not only are they changing road conditions, but also the conditions in the sky there. Again, this is the Blue Route 476, as you can see from our ultimate Doppler. That storm heading right for 476 over toward Bryn Mawr, over to Radnor, into the Conshohocken area. You may remember last week we had flooding on the Schuylkill Expressway at the Conchi interchange. And of course, that's something that is a possibility here again. So you see that spinning right there coming out of Echo Valley, heading up through Marple. And there's a live look at 476. The Blue Route heading right for Radnor, St. David's. If you know anyone studying or on campus at Villanova University, is heading right that way, right in toward that Norristown, East Norriton, and of course that stretch of the Pennsylvania Turnpike there between Valley Forge over through Plymouth Meeting, and then all the way over through Norristown and over toward Fort Washington. Wow. All right, here we go. I'm going to take you down here real quick.
Look at the difference.
Jump in if you want. Now this is down in Kent County, Delaware, where we started off with the storm warnings. And just take a look at the clouds there. I'm just trying to pull in as many cameras. And as Kathy was showing us the track of that storm, if you can see my arrow just kind of going right on up there, right up 301, right up 13, heading right into I-95 and right into Wilmington. And you can see the clouds just kind of moving on in there. I'm going to see what the next camera we got here. Here's an example of Route 30. We showed this before. Now a down tree blocking Route 30 in Chester County. Again, the high wind, all of this rain loosening the roots. And now we got a big old oak tree across Route 30, and that's closed right now in Chester County. And I can't imagine what's going through some of the minds of the people that are stuck in their car while this rain is coming through with nowhere to go.
Yeah, and of course, as you mentioned, the flooding and wind are just as dangerous as anything else here. And just, you can see here, well, you can't see much on that camera shot, just tells you we're talking about sideways rain here. And let's get back to Kathy as you forecast where this is going. What are we seeing on the bottom right of your ultimate Doppler there as far as what folks can expect in the 3 major counties affected by this warning?
So what we're talking about is a tornado, potential tornado or rotating thunderstorm that is moving toward the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So think about the storm having winds in excess of 70, 80 miles an hour as far as the winds are concerned. And then it's also moving at 50 miles an hour. So it is like a bulldozer, obviously, going through our neighborhood. So this storm, this dangerous thunderstorm that could be producing a tornado, is going to be in the Radnor area imminently at about 522, Drexel Hill at 525, Lower Marion at 526, Marion even into Lancasterville by 531. Other areas of concern: Conshohocken, Swarthmore, Jenkintown, Narberth, right along the main line, Darby Township, Morris Park, Bryn Mawr, Tacony, Broomall, and Kensington. If you live in any of these neighborhoods, please go to an interior room of your home and wait until the storm passes. As you mentioned earlier, it is a huge area of real estate that we're talking about, from Chester through Ridley, Upper Darby, Maryland, through obviously Philadelphia into Northeast Philadelphia and the southern part of Montgomery County. So this spans obviously several counties in our region. So everybody just obviously has to just move inside. We keep saying the same thing, but it's true. Go to an interior room of your home and wait until the storm passes.
Yeah, you can't say it enough. I mean, get to a basement if you have one. Hopefully, you know, in some areas, a lot of folks are probably going to have water in their basement by the time this night is over, but still going to be better to be down there safe if a tornado, if there's a warning in effect where you live. It's definitely time to seek shelter in Delco, Philadelphia County, Montco, still in effect in Newcastle and Sussex, and those specific neighborhoods Kathy just mentioned, Kensington area.
And Kathy, I was just curious, if are we in the thick of the storm? Are we in the peak of it, or has that not even happened yet?
You know what? That's a great question. And we are looking at, you know, I think we're just ramping up. I mean, we're going to stay in the thick of it for a number of hours. I think now, between now and about 10 o'clock tonight, I mean, that's where we have the biggest severe threat. So through the 6 o'clock hour, the 7 o'clock hour, the 8 o'clock hour, this is going to be moving through, and you're going to have potential of those streamers of thunderstorms coming up from the south, potentially spawning tornadoes. And you can see that precipitation spinning up from Maryland up through Baltimore and also into Delaware, coming into our counties, and that spin is what's creating these storms as the remnants move north.
Just the sheer volume of the size is incredible when you look at the radar right now. I mean, it's really the entire corner of the country is underneath this, the remnants of Ida. We know how much damage Ida did down in the southern regions of the country, and just look at it, just covering this corner of the country.
The top right camera is Platte Bridge, and that thing is shaking right now. We've got wind moving through, lots of rain, and the bottom right as well, we're seeing just torrential rain. You know what's good about that shot? I don't see any other cars, and you know, maybe we are in the peak of the evening commute. Maybe folks were able to get home a little bit early as they anticipated this storm. And we saw from Bob on the Blue Route, not a lot of cars heading home on a usually busy time there, heading north. So a good idea, a good sign, hopefully. But as you mentioned, you know, a 3-county tornado warning this long, Kathy. I mean, can you remember something like this?
No, not over 3 counties. I mean, that's pretty significant. And the National Weather Service also just issued a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's until 6 o'clock as well. So they have a severe thunderstorm warning that's highlighted in orange that goes through our northern western suburbs. It's pretty much all of our northern western suburbs, through Philadelphia County, Delaware County, Chester, where you see the orange box, through parts of Montgomery County, and also most of Bucks County. And that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 6 o'clock. So there was a severe thunderstorm over Newtown Square that was about 12 miles east of Westchester, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. And that cell is the cell of concern in the outskirts of where we have the tornado warning. So you're really not escaping this as far as wind and rain. So we're talking about torrential downpours, and downpours everywhere. And we talked about this earlier. You almost have to treat this like a snowstorm. You can't go out. Like, that's the bottom line. You just don't leave the house and you stay inside. If it were a snowstorm, you'd be snowed in. We're going to be rained in through the rest of the night.
And Kathy, Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, is under a tornado warning right now. It's something you commonly hear. I think a lot of people believe that tornadoes can't hit a big city. It's something I've heard so many people say, but that's not necessarily true, is it?
No, it's not true. And, you know, obviously in the days that we're living in now with a warming environment, I mean, anytime it rains, it pours. That's just something that's happening. We have very warm ocean water that this storm, the remnants are tapping into. We have a strong jet stream that's over us right now. So there's many factors that are leading to this storm actually intensifying over our area. So that's why we're seeing this. It's the remnants combined with a lot of atmospheric conditions and ocean influences, since we are so close to the ocean, feeding into the warmth and the instability of this storm.
And so if you're in a high rise in Philadelphia, or a row home, something that doesn't have a basement, an interior room, a bathroom is the place to be here for at least the next 20 minutes or so.
Nice now that you can just bring your phone, bring your laptop with you. You've got access, you're plugged in.
And charge it now while you can,
right,
if power stays on.
Yeah, you can still, you can stream us on the FOX29 app or fox29.com, so you can keep watching this if that's what you're doing in the living room right now. But as the storm is intensifying, as Kathy was saying, the power outage numbers are starting to shoot up as well. We're just hearing in Newcastle County, where we've seen a couple of tornado warnings over the past 20 minutes, they're up to a few thousand now. So we do expect those numbers to climb, a few thousand in Chester County as well, still a few hundred in Delaware, Modco, Philadelphia each. But again, those numbers are going to go up. So as Jason mentioned, try to make sure those devices are charged now, because you may not have an opportunity
and
later.
Maybe crank the AC if you can, because if your power goes out, it could be a very muggy evening for you. On the backside of this storm, Kathy, what kind of temperatures are we looking at?
We're talking about temperatures that are going to be cooling down big time. Yeah, we don't have to worry about the heat. And I just ran a new track on this. I mean, think about this potential tornado. It's moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Like, that's really fast, and it could do more damage because of the speed of the storm. Yeah, it moves out faster, but we're talking about flying debris. That's why you stay away from the windows. Any type of mobile homes, damage to roofs and windows and vehicles could occur, and obviously tree damage. Now, at this speed, this storm will be in Haverford in about a minute, Lower Merion at about 5:31, and Corson's at about 5:34. I also want to remind everybody that we're not out of the woods with this. This potential for tornadoes will continue until about 10 o'clock tonight. So it's something that we have to be vigilant. If you don't have to go outside, there's no need really. We're just going to continue to see this going on through the evening hours. And I just want to take a quick look at the wind gusts, because the winds with this storm obviously have gotten stronger. And you can see in the Lehigh Valley, we're up to like a close to a 40-mile-an-hour wind. But where we have these storms, there was a report of a thunderstorm wind of about 60 miles an hour. That was in Newcastle County. But excuse me, of course, with this storm, it's going to be even higher than that with a potential tornado.
Just sent my wife a text. She's in Haverford. You said it's coming in 1 minute. And yep, take the kids down to the basement now.
Yeah.
We've got Bob Kelly now. You're in the Malvern area, and I'm just curious what you're seeing out your window, Bob.
Yeah, it's kind of like hit and miss. Jeff Cole kind of said it perfectly. It's calm at 1 minute, and then it comes through quick, fast, and then that quick it's out. Here's a live look at the Schuylkill Expressway between Conshohocken and King of Prussia, the area that right now, that, as you can see from Ultimate Doppler, just heading right through that Concha area, Gulf Mills. There's the Blue Route 476 right near the St. David's Villanova interchange. A little further south down in the Broomall area, you can just kind of see the wind and the heavy rain, that driving heavy rain. And there's the concern too, with all of so much rain in such a short period of time, and we're certainly going to start to see flooding. I guarantee you that. Here's a live look at Route 202, just outside of the King of Prussia area. Again, I'm picking the cameras here, kind of go along with Kathy's forecast and trying to show you what's underneath the storm as it's rolling through. Route 30 in Chester County, Coatesville closed because of a down tree at Reeseville Road. Here's a live look at Route 202 coming out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. And then there's a live look at the Roosevelt Boulevard, because again, this warning stretches right through the city, right on up the boulevard, all the way down to the 95 Carter through the construction zone. That's another look at Route 100. Here's a live look at 95 between the stadium area, the upside of that Girard Point double-decker bridge. So it's good to see the slow traffic, because that's going to keep the accident count down. But I guarantee you, people, what do they call that, white knuckle driving, when you have both hands on the wheel. Now here's a live look at the 42 freeway. Really not a lot of heavy rain at the moment there. There's a live look at 95 through the Fishtown, Kensington area, which is also under that warning, through that construction zone there at Girard Avenue.
Yeah,
also,
white
also real
knuckled.
quickly, SEPTA just sent me a note. The 102 trolley is underwater. The tracks are underwater. So that service is going to terminate at McDade Boulevard. And I'm sure that's the first of many that we're going to see there as well. A lot of the buses are operating in and out of that 40th Street loop as well.
Okay, I imagine you'll have a few more updates just like that. So we'll check back in with you in a few minutes, Bob. Let's go now to Jeff Cole. This warning stretches into Delaware County as well. And I understand he just got to Glen Mills. What are you seeing out there, Jeff?
Well, here we are. We're live here in Glen Mills. I'm going to have you look over to my right, and this is Baltimore Pike here in Glen Mills. Folks will know this area, busy area just outside of Media, the county seat here in Delaware County. You know, as you can see, the traffic's moving pretty quickly here. The rain is not pounding down hard as it had been earlier, but still we're getting a good bite of rain, a good amount of rain. Winds are actually reasonably strong here, but certainly not indicative or not similar to what we saw earlier out here. Now, we're going to actually roll some video that we shot from our cell phone earlier. We were parked in Chad's Ford. We were reporting along the Brandywine River there near the Art Museum, and we were under some trees, and we thought that wasn't a great idea, so we decided to move and worked our way here along Baltimore Pike, heading for Media. And if you're looking at that video now, you can see the sort of intensity of the kind of rain and wind that we were facing as we were moving our way here toward Media, moving north, in essence, along the Baltimore Pike. It is interesting. Bob Kelly said it. I said it earlier. This is really sort of hit and miss. One moment you'll get very heavy, very strong rain. You'll hear thunder, you'll hear lightning, and then it'll back away. And I think right now we're more in a situation where it's backed away. You look up, what's also interesting here too, you look up in the sky and the clouds are moving really quickly. They're just sort of racing by us. We are clearly now in a bit of a, and we'll look up at it now if you can discern that from my photographer Mark Lavala's camera. But the clouds are low and they're moving very quickly in the sky here above us. Again, sort of hit and miss. Intense rain, heavy rain, you know, swirling, sort of twirling winds, moving the trees about, moving debris in the air, and then it'll suddenly slow down and stop. And this is in one of those situations that we're in right now. Quickly, let me talk really quickly about the Brandywine River. So there's an art museum down there that sits along the Brandywine River in Chad's Ford, and we went there just to see what was going to look like earlier in the day, and they had a huge floodgate up with tubes that come out of it because they expect the river to rise to 14.7 there, and they need that floodgate up to keep the water back. One other thing, we're at Darby Creek here today as well. Folks will know Darby Borough. When the water rises, when it rains hard, that creek comes up and takes over all the low-lying areas. They were concerned about that as well, and we're already preparing for the water rising there. Glen Mills, Baltimore Pike, a little bit of a lull, lighter rain, intermittent heavy wind. We're waiting here for the rain to return. That's what we have here out here in Glen Mills, folks.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. I want to get to Kathy before we get to our next reporter here because it looks like you have an update. Is this extended, this tornado warning extended till 6 p.m. now?
Yes, this just in from the National Weather Service. A tornado warning has been issued for southwestern Mercer County, southeastern Montgomery County, central Bucks, and northwestern Philadelphia until 6 o'clock. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is over Plymouth Meeting, or 8 miles northwest of Philadelphia, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So that is another tornado warning. So the areas of concern are Philadelphia, Trenton, Ewing, Doylestown, Hatboro, Ambler, Jenkintown, Chalfont, Yardley, Newtown, Abington, Bernathan, Ivyland, Willow Grove, Woodside, Richboro, Plymouth Meeting, and Chestnut Hill. Once again, tornado warning in effect for southwestern Mercer, southeastern Montgomery, and central Bucks, even northwestern Philadelphia County until 6 o'clock. So this is one warning that we're tracking that is in our area, and we're going to widen out a little bit and show you our other tornado warning. If I can get a hold of this here, and we'll widen out and you can see the same cell. So we're looking at this strong whole area here from 476 extending right through Montgomery County, moving east. And right now it's at 45 miles an hour, and this has been expanded into Mercer County and Bucks County as well.
Yeah, as Jeff mentioned, it can be kind of hit or miss on the ground, and we can see it's a hit right now in South Philly. That's the Platte Bridge up in the right-hand corner of your screen. And when we looked at it 5-10 minutes ago, it was a little bit clearer than this. The camera wasn't quite shaking as much, so you could just see how heavy it is. You can sort of see how slowly the drivers are moving. Smart move to drive slowly, but even smarter to get off the roads as soon as possible if you can. I do want to go out now to Marcus Espinoza. I believe he is standing by for us. Marcus, tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
Hey, Shayna, I'm on Broad Street here in the South Philly area, Jefferson Methodist Hospital right now. Heavy rain behind me with quite a dose of wind as well. A lot of folks getting caught out on the sidewalk without an umbrella. A cool couple acts of kindness happening on here, though, as patients have to come out of the hospital. Staff and folks here, nurses, whoever, coming out, holding umbrellas for folks as they have to get in their cars, as they try to get back home from whatever they had to get in the hospital for. So a lot of compassion here in this rain, in this weather. And I want to point out something else as well. There's a street sign up there that says Hawaii. And I think a lot of other folks would rather be in Hawaii right now. But for this sake, we're dealing with some rain, and I think folks are okay with it right now. It's heavy, but couple lightning strikes far away here and there, but otherwise it's kind of become a waiting zone over here in Jefferson as folks wait for their lifts, their rides. Saw a couple folks running without an umbrella, and they're going to get a little wet on their way back home, Shayna. I
will say, but wet, as long as you're safe, is not too bad. We can deal with a little moisture. So you stay safe and dry out there, Marcus. Some FOX29 viewers in the house.
Keeping it cool. You know, the storm is certainly living up to the hype, if you want to call it that here. I mean, we're talking about widespread flooding, wind and rain. As you see, Kathy's got a little area circled there. What are you taking a look at here on Ultimate Doppler?
Yeah, this is the area that we're talking about where the tornado started or was continuing. And if we widen out of that area, you can see the hook echo. So the tornado, I'm going to circle that again so you can get a better idea of where it is. But I was just zooming in on the area of concern. So this is the area where the tornado was Doppler radar indicated, and it makes perfect sense, because as I take a zoom out of that area and widen out a little bit, you're going to actually be able to see a hook here. And I'm going to outline the hook like we look for what we call a hook echo, which you often talk about. So here is the hook. And in this interior circle in the middle is where we would have the tornado. So the tornado would be right there where I have that circle. And indeed, if I zoom in, you're going to see that is right in this area, moving toward the northeast very quickly, where that yellow meets the orange. Like, that is what we're talking about. So that is where the rotation is. Pass through Upper Marion. It's heading on 276 by Corson's. It's moving toward the northeast at 45 miles an hour. So I can clearly identify the hook with this, as I just showed you, and you can follow along on the radar at home. So if I do a quick determination on this, and I'll put in my wind speed at 45 miles an hour into my computer, and I can follow the hook, and I can move this northeast at 45 miles an hour, I can show you exactly where this is going to be. So I put in my speed and my direction, and I can see it's heading toward Montgomery, Northampton, Abington, Cheltenham, and Bensalem, and I can put on the exact times that you will be seeing this particular storm pass by you. So this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado, but like we saw a couple of weeks ago when Scott and I were tracking these storms, when you can see this hook so clearly on Doppler radar, you got to be a believer. You have to really take this seriously. So the storm, this possible tornado, will be near Marion at 5:42, Abington at 5:45. Abington, this is heading right for you. Northampton at 5:53, Newtown at 5:57, Bensalem by 6:05, and Ewing, if it holds together, but you are in that warning area, by 6:08. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. I would not be surprised if someone spots a tornado on the ground with this. I mean, you can clearly see the signature on the radar. Yeah. It just is passing over 476. And if I take a zoom in on the radar, I'm going to show you exactly where it is, because as we just looked a few minutes ago, a little weather lesson here, we're going to draw the circle again, and it's right here. That's where it would be. So it would be on the inside of that hook echo, heading right through Conshohocken, moving toward Corsons, Norristown. These are all of our areas of concern. And if we follow that toward the northeast at 45 miles an hour, think how fast it is when you're driving in a car at 45 miles an hour. I mean, this is covering real estate really quick. We're talking about Washington, Whitpain, Upper Dublin. This whole area is our area of concern, as it's, you can see the rotation, our rotation indicator right over Upper Dublin and Fort Washington into Flowertown. Like, this is where our tornado is moving through.
And if the radar doesn't make you a believer, recent history should. As you just mentioned, Kathy, just a few weeks ago, we did have several tornadoes touch down. I believe it was 9 that day between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And, you know, we keep talking about how dangerous it is to be in a car. You'll remember up in Bucks County, one of the tornadoes hit a car dealership, and you saw what it did to that area, to all of those cars. So just a reminder of how seriously to take this when there is a warning in effect for your area.
Absolutely, and I'm just getting updates now from the National Weather Service beeping into the Weather Center just about flying debris, indications that there is some damage. We obviously had that tornado warning that was in effect for Chester County. I'm seeing pictures from Lower Oxford that are just trees down everywhere. We're starting to see some of that damage that's coming in. I did get something from the Weather Service that they have allowed a tornado warning for Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties to expire, but I'm going to keep an eye on that because they reissued for Bucks, Mercer, and Montgomery. So Montgomery County not out of the woods yet, but it looks as though the warning for Delaware County and Philadelphia may be allowed to expire, and I'm going to check that right now.
And we want to do our best to bring the images to our viewers. If you can safely, I stress safely, take video of the damage, flooding, whatnot near you, tag us on social media at FOX29 Philly, and we will try to share your pictures with our viewers here as this fast-moving but widespread storm moves through our area. Now, a little while ago, we did hear from our Chris O'Connell, reporter out in Westtown Township, Chester County. Here's Chris's report.
Threats of tornadoes and flash flooding are the concerns here in Chester County. I'm here in Westtown Township, here along Westchester Pike, as rush hour continues, people making their way home. And it probably couldn't be a worse time for these warnings and watches to come out as people make their way home, as people go to bed tonight, and as darkness comes. There were some tornado warnings in Chester County earlier. That continues with flash flood warnings here in Chester County until about 8:45 tonight. Treacherous, some low-lying areas receiving some road flooding, and that's going to continue throughout the evening hours. We're in Westtown Township tonight. Chris O'Connell, Fox 29 News.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let's get back to Bob Kelly now. We've been hearing about trees coming down. We expect a lot of trees to come down and flooding, ponding on the roads. So, Bob, as you're taking a look at the roads around Greater Philly, what are you seeing?
I'm actually trying to, exactly. Chris is right on the money there with the downed trees. We'll get to that in a moment. But here's a live look at Route 202 in Norristown, right underneath the ultimate Doppler tornado warning that Kathy's been showing us. I'm going to give it a second here for a car to kind of go through the intersection, because the intersections are all flooded out. And right there, you can kind of see them there making that right-hand turn or left-hand turn. That's an example of a major intersection there along Route 202. Again, more flooding. This is that Norristown construction zone. See the brown there to the bottom left? That's all the dirt being washed away in these storms. So that's going to be a situation. Here's a live look at Main Street in Norristown, right by the SEPTA Transportation Center. You see the police vehicles there in the background. I just saw some folks turning around, coming back the other way. And that's another concern. Folks are on their way home, trying to get home, and then they get pushed off into a detour. And I know that some folks aren't familiar with the best alternate route. You get to one roadway, it's blocked, you get turned around and spun back around into another area. Here's a live look at Route 309. Again, we're following the path of this storm as it rolls through, heading on over toward Fort Washington. This is right off of 309 and Susquehanna Road. So you got poor visibility and so much rain in such a short period of time, and then out of nowhere, boom, it's gone. Now here's a live look at the Plymouth Meeting interchange where the Blue Route 476 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike come together, again, right underneath that tornado warning that we've been following. Now, Route 30 in Chester County, Chris mentioned some downed trees. Route 30, the bypass, is closed at Reeseville Road as a result of at least 2 or 3 downed trees at the height of the storm when it came through that area. So again, cleanup starting to get underway, and it's going to be tough to even get cleanup crews out to that area. As you can see, there's no cars at all coming by, and folks are stuck in that traffic jam. This is a live look at Westchester, Route 202 and Route 3. Another tough, poor visibility shot there at Westchester. Live look at the Roosevelt Boulevard between City Line Avenue, heading up in toward northeast Philadelphia. And then here's a live look at I-95. Let's talk about the airport. If you think you're going to fly out today or tomorrow, I got another idea for you. Check with the airline before you put your bags in the trunk, because they're certainly going to have some delays, domino delays throughout the rest of the night and into tomorrow. And as I mentioned, all of these roadways that are either flooded out or in shutdown mode, if a SEPTA bus uses those routes, obviously those buses are going to be delayed. SEPTA's delays are just too numerous to go down, but I can tell you the 102 trolley is not operating because of high water there in right near the McDade Boulevard. Whoop. Okay, there you go. Now if you can hear that. So that's my flash flood warning here.
I'm getting some alerts as well. Let's get to Kathy. I'm seeing reports of tornadoes actually observed here. Are you seeing that, Kathy?
Yes, I am as well. What are you getting right now?
I'm looking at looks like a tornado on the ground in Fort Washington, north of Philly. That's according to a viewer.
Okay.
Also, just other reports here in Willow Grove, possibly tornado observed there from the National Weather Service.
Yes, that is what I'm looking at right now, and that makes perfect sense because we're talking about that area of curvature that we're looking at around that hook. And remember, we talked about that circle that I had made before around the area that we were talking about, and this is the area right here. So you're seeing near Upper Dublin, near Fort Washington. It would make perfect sense that that's exactly where we would be seeing that. So absolutely, there could be, and if the National Weather Service is reporting that there was a tornado seen on the ground, it would have to be a observer that they have certified. So yeah, we definitely believe that. And as we talked about, this signature it's getting a little bit more difficult to see. But as we talked about earlier, you can actually see the outline of the hook echo, and we previously did that with the last time we saw storms. I mean, this hook right here on the Doppler radar, and typically on the inside of that hook where it curves around, that is where you would find the tornado, and that's the exact place that you were talking about. So if I zoom into this circle, this is where I expect it to be, and you can see in this area of East Norriton, Lower Gwynedd, Upper Dublin, this is what we're talking about. There's Fort Washington right there, which is right in the same area. So as this storm continues to move toward the northeast at 45 miles an hour, you can see it moving into Horsham, into Warminster. So once again, we should actually talk about those areas of concern in the tornado warning area. And as the National Weather Service has said, we have that tornado warning in effect until 6 o'clock tonight. It was in Plymouth Meeting, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. We talked about how when you can see it that clearly on the Doppler radar, it is probably being detected on the ground. The areas of concern now as it heads toward Bucks County and eastern Montgomery County would be Hatboro, Horsham, of course, Warminster, Richboro, Woodside, Ivyland, which is right next to Richboro, Willow Grove, which we've already seen it impact, and even into Chestnut Hill, which is northeastern Philadelphia. Now, the tornado warning expired in Philadelphia and Delaware counties, so the real concern now is the eastern part of Montgomery County, Bucks County, along 611. If anybody is driving on 611 right now in the area of Bucks County and you know that road well, give them a call and tell them to pull over or get home like now, because this tornado warning is extended into your neighborhood and those very familiar areas of Richboro and Ivyland. It's heading toward you. So you have to take this seriously once again. And here it is. You can also see there's rotation here, but if you look real close, one of the things we talk about a lot in meteorology is a little bit of this bowing, the radar bulging a little bit, and that is a huge indication of wind damage that would most likely be occurring right now. So if that wind is continuing to twist and it's a tornado, or if it's bulging eastward in a straight line, you're going to have some significant wind damage in this area.
And Kathy, what kinds of wind speeds are we seeing so we can imagine the type of damage to anticipate?
You know, it's going to be hard to tell, but when it's this vivid and this clear, this looks like a strong tornado signature. So you could, you know, roofs blown off, damage to siding, obviously trees down, hopefully not on cars or on homes, but that's the type of damage you're talking about. You're talking about 90-mile-an-hour winds or greater than that. The tornado that we had earlier, the potential tornado in Chester County, there were pictures from Oxford that I saw on Twitter that are simply amazing, like trees and wires are down and cars are kind of trapped underneath them. I mean, that's the type of thing that's happening if you venture out, and that's why it's so important to stay inside. This is raining so hard that the windshield wipers can't keep up with this.
Yeah, and you know, all the flood-prone areas that we're all familiar with are going to be in really bad shape here throughout the evening, and we really don't have an idea of just how bad the damage is quite yet. It's happening as we speak here, as we try to keep you posted on just where the danger is, the most dangerous spots, where the tornado threat is. And you mentioned that hook. Can't help but notice just how widespread that hook is. I mean, I'm sure in your experience, that hook's a lot smaller in past tornado warnings.
Yeah, I mean, this is covering a large area of real estate, so it's pretty strong, and it's not fading. It's going to make it across 3 counties, and that's pretty significant. We also have a tornado warning in effect for Cumberland and Salem counties. This came from Delaware across the bay, and now we have a tornado warning in Cumberland and Salem counties in New Jersey until 6 o'clock tonight. Another Doppler radar indicated tornado, so the areas of concern are Lower Alloways Creek, Woods Upper Mill, Alloway, Salem, Shirley, Mannington, and toward the north and east into the, you can see right through the part of the county that extends into the western edge of Cumberland County. So Stowe Creek, you have to be careful there. In Deerfield, Pine Island, you're in the middle of this too. So a tornado warning in effect for Cumberland and Salem counties in New Jersey until 6 o'clock this evening. So we have a few more minutes on that as well.
I'm also seeing, you know, down in Cecil, Maryland, another tornado warning, and sometimes that gives us an indication of what's to come. So I know you'll keep an eye on what's happening to our south. I mean, it's really hard to keep the folks posted of exactly all the watches and warnings and flood potential. So keep it right here. We're going to go to Bob Kelly now. You're watching the roads, you're watching the conditions out there, and I got to imagine it's deteriorating.
Yeah, definitely. And again, as you follow along with us here, you can see how quickly, just in the last hour, we've kind of made a trip from Delaware through Westchester, in through Montgomery County, and now we're rolling on up in toward Bucks County just in the last hour since we've been on the air. Here's a live look at, this is Route 611, not that far from Doylestown Hospital up there in Bucks County. And again, the rain comes in fast and furious, so much rain. Again, the wipers can't even keep up. And again, pull over to a safe area if you are, certainly not suggesting anyone to go out, but if you are talking to anyone who's maybe calling and checking in, here's a live look at Route 309, and notice just the darkness to this camera. This is right underneath the Fort Washington alert, the tornado warning alert that we just got word of along Route 309. So that whole stretch of 309 between the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Fort Washington, all the way north. I'm just going to move my camera around here, all the way up towards 63, that whole stretch right here. And of course, behind it, the Pennsylvania Turnpike. pretty much in gridlock mode as you head eastbound between Plymouth Meeting on over to Fort Washington. Take a look at how heavy this rain is right now in Norristown. So, we even have a wiper on that camera there, but police in the background, that's the SEPTA Norristown Transportation Center. So if anyone uses mass transit today, they're certainly going to have a rough go getting home. And then here's a live look at another stretch of Ridge Avenue in Norristown, and what a difference just a half a mile can make as those heavy storms come through. Here's a live look at Plymouth Meeting. I'm trying to shuffle through as many of the cameras as I possibly can here to give you an idea, but this is Plymouth Meeting right near the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and then 422 in Montgomery County. Looks like, kind of we're spared by this storm here, although they do have the heavy rain. They don't have the heavy winds or the tornado warnings. But again, as Kathy mentioned, making a beeline for Bucks County up in toward almost like that Pennsylvania Turnpike, following the line of the Turnpike, heading into that Philly-Bend Salem interchange. Route 30 closed because of a downed tree in Chester County. And we're just going to go back for a second because I know Kathy's going to get ready to talk about this one here, the tornado warning in Upper Bucks County, Buckingham, Northampton, Montgomery County, Horsham. As you can see there in that bottom right, just below my ugly mug here, that red area is just above the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So just as we've seen this morning's storm travel the 95 corridor, it looks like this afternoon's storm kind of taking the path of the Pennsylvania Turnpike and all the points north and west. And again, with all the rain that we had this morning, that ground is really soft. And I really hate to think that we're going to be seeing some downed trees and power outages as we move in to the overnight hours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. We will check back in with you again very soon. So, Kathy, we are getting closer and closer to 6 o'clock when some of these warnings were supposed to expire. We hear your computers just dinging over there. So what's the latest on the warnings? Oh,
yeah. Here we go. We have a new tornado warning. It's been extended with this Salem County tornado warning in effect until 6:30 for Salem and Gloucester, because this tornado is moving toward the northeast and it's heading toward Gloucester County. So if you have any friends or if you live in Gloucester County, New Jersey, central Gloucester County, remember, obviously, that's the way to the shore. Please get inside an interior room of your home and wait until this storm passes. This rotating thunderstorm was 12 miles northwest of Bridgeton, and it was moving toward the northwest and now toward the northeast at 40 miles an hour. And as that speed and direction, it's expected to move toward Glassboro and Pittman and all of those popular locations in the county of Gloucester in New Jersey. So these are the areas that will be affected: Glassboro, Pittman, Paulsboro, Salem, Woodstown, Alloway, even into Swedesboro, Mullica Hill, Gibbstown, Turnersville, Winona, and Oak Valley. The New Jersey Turnpike, 295, Atlantic City Expressway. If anybody's heading to or from the shore, let them know that there's a tornado warning that's going to be in the area, and they need to pull over or get inside and wait until this storm passes. This was the tornado warning that developed through Salem County, made its way also into parts of Cumberland County, and now it's extended into Gloucester County. So please take this warning and have everybody stay off these roads. You can see how 295, and the Turnpike goes right through Woolwich, also through Logan, 295, right up toward Paulsboro, and this is the area we're concerned with. So this tornado warning in effect until 6:30 this afternoon. And once again, guys, with this flying debris, the most dangerous thing, tree damage. That's why you got to get away from the windows, because a lot of times what we see with this saturated ground of rain that has fallen over the past month, it's not going to take a lot of wind to bring those trees.
And just to piggyback off of your areas of Jersey that are under a tornado warning, looks like the National Weather Service has added Flemington, New Jersey, Lambertville, New Jersey. This is till 6:30 tonight. So these areas will be watching. And this has been a weather event that has really started to pick up about 4:15, 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock. And here we are now, a couple hours in, and tornado warning really in scattered parts of our viewing area has been consistent.
And Kathy, to be clear, a few of these warnings, particularly north of Philadelphia, were set to expire at 6 o'clock. It is now 6 o'clock, and we're seeing at least some of those have been extended to 6:30, correct?
Yeah, so what's happening is we're seeing the threat moving out of Montgomery County, and now it's Bucks, Hunterdon, and Mercer. So we're following this tornado that was right over Montgomery County along 476, moving toward Bucks County. So remember, we were talking about Bucks County. We were talking about all those areas of concern. Warrington, Warminster, the storm is over you right now, over Warminster. So take shelter immediately. This is a storm that obviously has a history of a very strong signature on Doppler radar. That's why the National Weather Service issued this. It's moving toward the northeast at 45 miles an hour, and it will continue to move through the county and toward Mercer County. We talked about it being close to Buckingham, Warminster, Ivyland, Richboro, all those areas near 611. Please make sure everybody's inside and wait until this storm passes. So the tornado was located over Ivyland, or 16 miles west of Trenton, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. So this is the area that we're talking about right now, and we want to make sure that you stay safe. So please, it's moving very fast, and it can create a good deal of damage in a short period of time. So the areas that we're talking about that will be impacted are Ewing, Princeton, Doylestown, Chalfont, Pennington, New Hope, obviously Ivyland, Washington Crossing, Lumbertville across the river, Gardenville, and Richboro. If you live in these neighborhoods, please make sure you call your friends, tell them to get in the basement or an interior room of your home, their home, and wait until the storm passes.
I'm seeing a lot of reports on social media of people saying, not only are the roads saturated, they are not drivable, they are underwater in many areas, as we get another alert on our phones here about a flash flood warning in effect in this area, which is Old City, Philadelphia, until tonight at 11:30. That's to be expected in this situation. So again, for anybody out there driving, just be very careful. Turn around, don't drown, all those things.
You can really tell the blobs on the right side of your screen. You can see just how poor visibility is, how heavy that rain is. So stay safe out there. Let's get out now to Jeff Cole. The last time we checked in with him, he was in Glen Mills, Delaware County. I'm not sure if you've moved. Jeff, what are you seeing and where are you now?
We actually still in Glen Mills, Delaware County, and working from this location. Let me point some things out for you. For folks who might know this area, Glen Mills, Delaware County, it's near the Britton Lakes area. There's a small strip mall here. Britton Lakes Road is right near me. There's a Wawa here. We're actually quite familiar with Wawa. We often use them during heavy weather as a place to shield ourselves. We're looking here at Baltimore Pike behind me, heading towards Media. And, we've had steady rain. It's not been the kind of rain you folks have been talking about, certainly in other communities where the roads are inundated and flooded with water. Clearly, there's a lot of water and precipitation certainly on the road, but it isn't, frankly, stopped the motorists who are moving pretty quickly. I'm just going to swing around here and have you look the other way at Baltimore Pike and let you talk to you a little bit about Chad's Ford, which is down the way there. We were down there earlier in the day because we wanted to take a look at the Brandywine snakes right near an art museum down there, the Brandywine River Museum of Art. It's quite an interesting place, and the river comes right through there, so we wanted to take a look. They expected to go to 14.7, as I've reported earlier. They've got a floodgate up there, and they have pumps and tubes, and will try to push the water away. They expect it to come up and be up against their water. They hope to certainly reopen maybe tomorrow afternoon. Looking down here, Baltimore Pike, I think the traffic really has fallen off a little bit. We think the wind has fallen off as well, but as Bob has said, as we've said earlier, this is sort of hit and miss. You'll get hammered with heavy rain and hammered with swirling tornado-like winds, but then it'll fall off and be a little bit lighter and be a little bit easier to go along with. Earlier in the day, as I said, we were in Darby Borough. Darby Borough is known for Darby Creek that runs right through the center of Darby Borough, if you know it. And Darby Borough can be it's low-lying in places. That creek gets some water. It jumps up and floods businesses and floods homes in that area. That will be a place to watch here tomorrow to see just what that creek has done. So frankly, I actually think that it isn't all that bad here right now, and certainly folks are moving along, commuting home, and trying to get back to their homes tonight as the weather continues to move through. Once again, really fast-moving clouds, low-lying, fast-moving clouds are running by us. I could tell you right now the airliners are still working because I'm actually watching an airliner that looks like it's in a slow mode here, maybe circling the airport and trying to get down. But this is where we are here in Glen Mills, Delaware County. We've been in Chadds Ford today, also in Delaware County. We've been in Darby Borough, also in Delaware County. And we did, folks, also speak to the director of their emergency services in Delaware County. And what he had told us was that Delaware County, in many ways, is at the end of a lot of rivers and streams. And so it gets a lot of flooding, particularly in the southeast section. So that's Colwyn, parts of Upper Darby, Darby Borough. Unfortunately, those are often communities where folks of lesser means are, and unfortunately, those folks will often get hammered in this kind of weather that brings the water up, and so they'll be focused on that tonight. That is what we're seeing at this point in Glen Mills in Delaware County. Folks, back to you.
Jeff, thank you very much. Thanks for your reporting. Of course, our continuing coverage continues here as we follow this tornado warning. It is our commitment to you. We will not go to commercial. We will continue to try to keep you updated and forewarned. It looks like Ultimate Doppler, Kathy, you're checking on rainfall totals, and am I seeing 6.5 inches?
Yeah.
Is that what's fallen so far, or what's expected to fall?
That is what's fallen so far, and I'm looking at this area. You can see through Chester County and into Montgomery County, and that's the trail of this heavy rain and severe weather. And you can see Upper Providence, 5.6 inches. Norristown, right on the edge there, 5 inches. West Bradford, 5.5 in Chester County. Near West Vincent and Brandywine, 5.4. I mean, this is obviously why we have the flash flood warning. So, you know, we're looking at, these are estimates, but these estimates are typically pretty close to what has already fallen, and we're watching. I mean, this is torrential rain, and the flash flooding is pretty much everywhere in our northern western suburbs. So the tornadoes obviously creating a significant problem as far as potential for wind damage, but the rain is torrential. So you're talking about 1 inch to 2 inches an hour, and many of these locations have been seeing the rain for at least a couple hours, especially north and west of the city. You're finally seeing it with the severe weather in parts of South Jersey. And as we go to the north with our tornado warning that's in Bucks County and extending toward Trenton and Mercer County, you can see this is a torrential downpour where you see that dark red near Warrington. The storm was near Ivyland and moving very quickly toward the northeast into Buckingham, and then it will be making its way into Mercer County.
Wow. I mean, you mentioned the torrential rain, and just that bottom right screen, is that still South Philly that we're looking at? Yeah, it absolutely is. And a few minutes ago, we were able to see the Platte Bridge. You could see a stream of headlights, and you kind of can, just at the bottom of the screen, you'll see 1 or 2 pop out. That is how poor visibility is and how heavy this rain is. So it makes sense that it's totaling that much already in some areas, 6, 7 inches.
Seeing that red and purple and orange, it's going to be coming down here and only making matters worse as far as flood potential goes. You're looking right in the city of Philadelphia, in the area right now. The densely populated area is seeing even more deluge of rain, and so you know we know that there are some flood prone areas, and you know just stay away from them if you can. If you can stay home for the rest of the night. This is going to be an ugly situation here as we continue to track SEPTA and that sort of thing, as well as far as public transportation goes. No matter what method you use, it's going to be slow going and downright impossible to get across town right now. So, and speaking of, let's get out to Bob. And Bob, what are you seeing in Malvern?
Well, gang, I'm going to take you right now to Conshohocken. This is a live look at the Schuylkill Expressway underwater in Conshohocken. This is between Conshohocken and Gladwin. Look at the water, and you can see I'm going to circle this car right there in the middle. He's in the left lane. Obviously, eastbound is on the right, westbound on the left. Again, this is that same area or close to the same area that flooded out last week in the overnight hours into the morning. So again, you got stuck vehicles. This fellow's obviously stuck. These guys are trying to roll through it. Again, this is the Schuylkill Expressway between Conshohocken and Gladwin, right underneath exactly where that heavy storm went across and dumped, as Kathy mentioned, up to 6 inches of water real quickly. Now we're going to move away from that here, and let's go over to New Jersey. Kathy was just talking about the tornado warning in New Jersey along 295. This is a live look right here at 295. I'm going to slide this over. There's the Turnpike toll plaza at exit number 2, which is Route 322. And then we're going to try to pull this one in here. That's a live look at the New Jersey Turnpike in that area. So again, we're trying to jump around. Here's a live look at the 42 freeway, not that far from that area that, again, is underneath that tornado warning over in South Jersey. Here's a live look at Route 611 between the Pennsylvania Turnpike at the Willow Grove interchange all the way up to Doylestown. We're talking Doylestown Hospital to give you a locator. Route 309 also flooded out between the Turnpike all the way up toward the upper end. Look at this fellow crossing the street here. This is in Norristown. Now, we all talking about, we're worried about our loved ones. I was worried about my daughter, Kristen, who's a school teacher. I said, text me when you get home. Look what's out her front window when she got home. She lives in Lansdale. This is at the intersection of 7th and Chestnut Street. Look at the water just rolling, coming across. You got white caps there, like you're down the Jersey Shore at the intersection of 7th and Chestnut. So when we talk about flash flooding, Lansdale, we haven't even mentioned Lansdale once in this whole storm coverage. And look at the amount of rain that they're experiencing right now. So I can't imagine what East Whiteland, Chester County, or even portions of the Schuylkill Expressway are going to go through. But again, that's from Lansdale right now. And at least she made it home safely and is on higher ground. But let's come back to that Schuylkill Expressway shot. Again, this is a live look at the Schuylkill Expressway between Conshohocken and the Gladwin interchange. And we see that swirling rotation again in South Jersey, pretty much from Portertown, following the path of 295 and the New Jersey Turnpike. As I mentioned this morning, it followed the path of 95. This afternoon, the path of the Turnpike. That swirling motion going right on up into Mullica Hill, heading right up into Belmar. And actually, this camera that we're looking at right there in the smack dab in the center of your screen is right underneath that rotation. As we're looking Piles Grove, Pine Tavern, Glassboro, Woolwich Township, Mullica Hill, the campus of Rowan College right there, all the way up into Gloucester. Again, tornado warning until 6:30 this evening over there. And if you look at the tree right here in the bottom of that camera to give you an idea of the wind, how high that wind is, how high the wind, or take a look at that. So that's a live look right underneath that swirling activity over there in South Jersey. Guys, back over to you.
All right, thank you, Bob. You know, the white caps he just showed us from that video in Lansdale, that much water, certainly enough to carry a vehicle away,
No
and absolutely enough to carry a person away. And as he mentioned, it's likely worse in many other areas. I am seeing a lot of reports on social media about severe damage in certain areas already. Fort Washington, Maple Glen, Horsham. But as we've said, Kathy, this is a big storm. It's going to be with us for a few hours. So before we go to another reporter, just a reminder that once a warning is clear, once it seems that it's passed through your area, you're not necessarily done with it for the night, right?
No, absolutely not. And I'm just putting up really quick this shear tracker. If you want to know why this tornado warning spanned about 4 counties, this is why. The Doppler radar indicated the tornado was near Marple, and that was obviously Delco. Look at this shear tracker. Shear is the change of wind speed and direction as you go up in the atmosphere, and that's that twisting motion. I mean, usually we see this dark blue. When you see bright blue and purple, that's a lot of shear. So this is like a no-brainer tornado warning through Conshohocken, right through White Marsh. Just follow the purple dots through Fort Washington. I mean, there is the path of the storm right laid out in front of us. Upper Dublin, Maple Glen, Horsham, and look at the shear tracker. I mean, it continues into Bucks County. That's why the warning was reissued through Warrington, through Ivyland. And then, is it one tornado potentially, or is it more than one? Well, we'll know when the National Weather Service goes out and investigates. You can see Mercer County was in that warning. There was a little shear, but the tornado or this rotating thunderstorm potentially moving more toward Buckingham and toward Raritan to the north, and that's why the Mercer County was discontinued as part of that tornado warning. So right now we do have a tornado warning still in effect for parts of Bucks County and to the north. and Mercer County is no longer included, and that is because you can see those indications on Doppler radar. So Buck's still in it, Hunterdon and Somerset, Mercer no longer, because that threat is going to the north, but we still have Bucks County in that warning.
All right, as everyone there takes shelter, let's get out now to Dawn Timoney, who joins us live. She's in the vehicle. Where are you, Dawn, and what are you seeing out there?
Well, we are in Audubon, Montgomery County, and we've been traveling on Egypt Road. Let's take a look at some of the video. The rain has let up a little bit, but again, it's starting to pick up. And as we were traveling along Egypt Road in Audubon, it was probably 10% visibility. You could not see in front of you. Water everywhere, downpours, flash flooding. We were driving along the road. We could see water pouring off people's properties, waterfalls just gushing into the road. Other places you could see the water right up to the doors of homes and businesses. And then as we got to Audubon Village at Surrey Lane, the road takes a dip there, and people were driving down into the water. Cars were stalled everywhere. There were ambulances and fire and emergency vehicles trying to get drivers out of harm's way. It's really been crazy. It's been scary. We started to go down that way, and then we realized it wasn't safe, and we turned around, and then you could just see the water pouring down off of inclines. The police and EMS folks, they came and closed down that road. So now there is a detour. You can kind of see the cars out the window behind me if we're coming back to me now. But it's very dangerous. And as Kathy mentioned, we had a lull, but now again, we're starting to see the rain pick up again. But visibility, terrible, flash flooding everywhere. And the problem is that you think you're fine, and then all of a sudden the downpours, and you can't see, and all of a sudden you realize you're in water extremely deep and there's nowhere to go. And that's why cars are stalling out and people are having to be rescued from their vehicles.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll continue to keep you posted. We're trying to make our way to Pottstown, but we've been detoured and just water everywhere. So really treacherous conditions out here.
And your safety comes before all. Dawn, thank you very much for that. And you know, when you think about, let's leave her video there that she took up, because you know, when you think flash flooding, the images that come to your mind are pretty much exactly what we're seeing from this this video that Dawn shot. I mean, straight down the roads and into car. There's a car stalled out right there, and so you know, this is why they say, you know, turn around, don't drown. This is what, 5-6 inches of rain at the most, and look what it can do to many low-profile cars. And you get stalled there, and now you got to get out, and it's dangerous, and you could be swept away. So again, stay off the roads if you can. Let's get to Kathy now as we talk about the most urgent areas right now. What do you need to tell us about the most urgent areas as far as the tornado warning is concerned?
We still have that tornado warning in effect for parts of Bucks into Hunterdon and Somerset County. That's until 6:30. We're watching the storm as it continues to move through Bucks County, so we're not out of the clear just yet. The heaviest rain and the strongest winds right now are looking like they're moving right through Pineville, through Buckingham, actually Lahaska, right along 202. Everybody knows it, Peddler's Village. Hopefully everybody inside and wait until this storm passes. It's moving toward the northeast, toward Lambertville. Anybody that's been through New Hope, right along the river, across the Delaware to Lambertville, there's a beautiful bridge you can walk across. Torrential rain falling right now, and this potential tornado moving toward you right now. So in New Hope, Lambertville, take shelter and wait until this dangerous storm passes. Then it will be moving into Hunterdon and Somerset County. So I do think by 6:30 that Bucks County tornado warning will be allowed to expire. We also have several severe thunderstorm warnings going on right now, and that almost seems secondary, obviously, when you're talking about severe weather, but nevertheless very dangerous. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now through southern Delaware. Severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45 for Kent and Sussex County, Delaware. Obviously damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, and the potential for hail with this as well. Haven't seen a lot of hail in these storms, but definitely a possibility. The main threat has been rotation as far as these thunderstorms, and once again, we can't stress enough to just stay off the roads, because this heavy rain is going to continue, and the potential for tornadoes is going to continue as well, as long as we see this moisture being drawn up from the south, and that threat is going to continue into the evening. So this heavy rain will as well. We're starting to see some of that heavy rain go on the Jersey side. The shore, I'm not as concerned about, but interior South Jersey, our immediate suburbs close to the Delaware River and Philadelphia are going to see additional heavy rain as well.
All right, Kathy, thank you very much. Let's go to South Philly now. I know Marcus Espinoza is there. The last time we saw him, it was a lot calmer than what we're seeing behind you right now, Marcus.
Yeah, I consider that more of a vacation last time you saw me. This is really intense right now. It's starting to puddle up, actually, on the sidewalks here. Huge, massive puddles. This is where ambulances have to pull up in case of an emergency. And speaking of emergencies, if you guys can avoid being out there, you do not want to end up at a hospital like this here at Jefferson on Broad at Methodist Hospital. The rain has gotten very, very, very intense. This is the hardest I've seen it come down this entire day, and it really just picked up over the past 7 minutes, I'd say. So we're definitely getting a lot of puddles. I saw folks who had bicycles. They were getting picked up by great loving friends, so they didn't have to ride home with their bicycle in this rain, but it's really starting to build up. You definitely want to have some waterproof boots on, which I do have, and then a rain jacket, which I do not have. Maybe I'll take it from Shane here. I don't know. We'll decide that later, but it's gotten really bad here. This is no joke. Listen to our weather folks, guys. The rain is a serious issue. If you do not have to be driving, stay in your house and watch out for the alerts.
Yeah, we got to get you some rain gear. All right, Marcus Espinoza, thank you very much. Stay safe. We're told by the National Weather Service from a tweet that there are many, many water rescues going on right now across the area. More crews are out there, I'm sure, in full force, helping people who may have underestimated the water, and you get into an intersection, and by that time it's too late. So please, please try not to drive across flooded roads. And here comes another warning of some kind. We'll let you know what that is in just a moment. But first, let's get out to our Kelly Rule live along the PA Turnpike. Kelly, what are you seeing?
Jason, this is the worst rain we have seen all day. You can see just how little we can see in front of us right now. Really, really heavy rain coming down, low visibility. We're hanging over on the in the right lane. You can see red lights in front of us. People are slowing down. This is not fun to drive in, so we are taking our time. We'll pull over if we need to. If you don't need to be out here right now, certainly do not do it. It is not worth it. So we're passing, let's just say, 2nd Street Pike. So we are making our way on the turnpike to the Willow Grove area, possibly Fort Washington first. We just came from Bucks County. We were there from about 3:30 or so until maybe 5:45. We were not seeing rain like this. Now, it might have changed since we left, but we were not seeing anything close to this. In fact, we were in the Croydon area where people were waiting and watching and hoping to not see anything like this, as they are still cleaning up from that historic flooding we saw in mid-July. We actually, when we pulled up to Croydon around 3:30 or so, we ran into a couple that was evacuating because they still are dealing with repairs, actually still fighting for money from their insurance company because of that flooding. They had feet of water in their home. They said they just wanted to get out and not deal with it and not see it. So they left, and we spoke with another neighbor that was just going to hunker down and wait it out. But he, too, had feet of water in his basement. He said they actually didn't have power for an entire month. So they just got that back on a couple of weeks ago. They're still cleaning up. So they are waiting there and hoping that we're not going to see anything like what we saw in Croydon in mid-July. But again, the rain there was steady. It was coming down. Nothing like what we're seeing right now on the turnpike. Again, guys, you don't need to be out. It's certainly not worth it. Really low visibility here. Not a good time to be on the road.
All right, stay safe out there. Kelly, thank you very much. Kathy, the viewers may have just heard a lot of alerts going off in the studio, and some of those were from, Jason and my cell phones, the NWS, the National Weather Service alerts. Even if your phone is on silent, you'll hear that very loud, so sorry about the extra warning you may have heard at home. But I got the alert that there is a new tornado warning in Philadelphia, right, Kathy?
Yes, remember the tornado warning that we had in Salem County and that moved into Gloucester County? Well, this is the same tornado. A Doppler radar indicated tornado. A tornado-producing storm, as the National Weather Service says, was located over Mullica Hill, 11 miles southwest of Gloucester City. It's moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. And you can see the area we're talking about. I mean, on the Doppler radar, I'm looking at, as I look at, it's kind of easy to see right through this area right here. That is the area of concern, and this is moving toward the northeast at 35 to 40 miles an hour. The areas under this warning are Philadelphia, Camden, Gloucester City, Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, Deptford, West Deptford, Glassboro, Lindenwold, Belmar, Woodbury, Pittman, Palmyra, Magnolia, Woodbury Heights, National Park, Brooklawn, Audubon Park, and Barclay, Kingston. If you live in any of these areas, please go inside an interior room of your home and wait until the storm passes. This is until 6:45 for northwestern Camden, north central Gloucester, west central Burlington, and south central Philadelphia County. A tornado-producing storm was located over Mullica Hill. And you can see the rotation that our Doppler radar picked up on, ultimate Doppler, that rotation that's right over Mullica Hill. And this storm, once again, is moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. It is obviously moving at a pretty good speed. In addition to the speed, we're also talking about the fact that this storm could have significant wind associated with it. So if I take this storm and say it's moving northeast at this speed, you can see it'll be in Deptford, like right now. It's moving over Deptford, Woodbury at 6:29, Runnymede at 6:31, Belmar at 6:33, Haddonfield at 6:36, and in Ashland by 6:37. So please get into an interior room of your home and wait until this dangerous storm passes. This obviously could create flying debris, trees down, power lines down, damage to homes. It does have a history, a strong history coming from the south, and it's lasted quite long. So it seems like it could be a very strong rotating thunderstorm or tornado.
Well, this is a storm that just continues to give us, we're looking at the clock and we're saying, okay, let's just make it to 6:30. Let's make it to, and as we continue to cover this urgent weather situation, it just continues to extend, and now we're looking at 6:45, and we're not out of the woods by any stretch here. As you widen out, do me a favor, widen out here a little bit so we can just see the sheer size of the storm. And this is going to be an hours-long ordeal even from now. Yeah, and now I'm just getting an indication that we now have a tornado warning in Newcastle County. So you're saying, we have to get to 6:30. Now we have to get to 7. This is tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service just a second ago. It is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that was indicated near Middletown, northeast at 30 miles an hour, so moving from the south toward the north. You can see ultimate Doppler indicating that early rotation over the eastern shore of Maryland, moving toward the north. The areas of concern are Newark, Newcastle, Bear, Pike Creek, Wilmington Manor, and Brookside. So if you have anybody in this area, please make sure they get inside. This storm has a history, obviously, of damaging winds and some torrential downpours.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. Let's get back out to Jeff Cole now, who is live in Glen Mills. I see some running water and any damage. Is that a road or a river? Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, interesting, right? It's certainly not a road. So we've gone back to Chadds Ford to the River Museum that I've been talking to you about. So take a look. This is the Brandywine River. I would say, so we were here in the mid-afternoon. I would say between 3 o'clock, 3:30 to now, here we are just coming upon 6:30. This river may be up, I don't know, 3-4 feet. I mean, it is much higher than what we saw. My partner, Mark Lavala, the photographer here, thinks it could be as high as 5 feet up than what we saw, just a few hours ago along the Brandywine. It is amazing. A lot of water has infused itself into this river, and it has gone up. It is also darkened and turned muddy brown, and the current has certainly picked up, and it's moving heavy pieces of wood. We've seen logs just racing here along the Brandywine here in Chadds Ford. Now let me show you a few things. So of course Mark is showing you the Brandywine, how far it's come up. You can see the branches as they lean over this river, and they are concerned here. So now you're looking at, this is the Brandywine River Museum of Art. It is quite an interesting place if you haven't ever been here, and I would recommend you want to visit. But so I've been talking to you folks about this flood wall they have. Well, there it is right there, this big silver wall. They actually stick this thing up over an entrance there, and they use this to shield themselves from the water that could possibly come through and enter it. These are obviously the hoses here that will drive the water out. They believe that if this river comes up to 14.7 feet, which is what they think it'll do, it'll come right up, come right over the grass, come right over this walkway here, and this floodgate will have to hold it back. When we were here earlier, they said that the last time they had high water, maybe they thought it came up to about here, and they expect it to jump. That's right. They expect the water to come out of here and get to about this high along the stone foundation of the Brandywine River Museum of Art. They said they've moved everything, obviously, that's here. And, of course, this is an art museum. It has a lot of the work of the Wyeth family. If you're familiar with the Wyeth family, you certainly should be. He was the whole family are Pennsylvania painters. All that beautiful artwork is high up on the first floor and up, so that's out of the way. But all of their equipment, their trucks, their other materials, they say they've moved, and of course they have themselves this flood wall that'll hopefully keep back the water. Now, I don't know, so you can see the river. I don't know if in the left you can see a bronze, what looks to be bronze, or a statue, a piece of work of a cow. So you see that cow there? That cow's name is Ms. Kurtz, and it's a piece of beauty. There's apparently a pig that's beyond it that's named Helen. Here's why it's significant. Because the water, when they really get a high Brandywine River situation, it comes up and covers that piece of artwork that sits there. In fact, the folks that work here know that if the water gets anywhere near the nose of that cow, they know to get out into the parking lot here and get their cars out of the way. But they expect, as the water continues to rise, it'll go right up that piece of artwork. So Mark is going to back up here, and I'm going to try to make sure he does not trip, and we're just going to walk you back again and walk you down to the Brandywine River here in Chadds Ford. This is still Delaware County out here, to show you just how high this river has come up and how quickly it is moving now. We're guessing here, we don't have a sort of measuring device. We think this thing may have come up 3, 4, 5 feet just since early to mid-afternoon since we've been here. So clearly, we've got more weather to come and more water to come, and this thing is going to come over its backs, over the banks here, and we certainly hope that this quality art museum is in a position to be able to hold it back. Jeff Cole live in Chadds Ford in Delaware County. Folks, back to you.
It'll be interesting to see what that looks like in about an hour or two there where you are, Jeff. Maybe where you're standing might be water by then. So safe travels out there, Jeff. Thank you very much. I want to show you a tweet that one of our viewers sent us. And by the way, we want to invite you to safely send us whether pictures and videos at FOX29 Philly. Here's one, and this is just an indication of just probably dozens, if not hundreds, of intersections in our viewing area here where cars, that water is up to that car's door, up to the hood of one of those sedans right in the center of your screen. Not exactly sure where this is. We'll let you know, but this is sent to us by one of our viewers, and this was about an hour ago. So, as that rain continues to be relentless, it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
We're also seeing a lot of reports of water rescues underway, a lot of vehicles like you see just sort of being abandoned in parking lots. So while we're thinking about the roads, let's get out to Bob Kelly, who's been keeping a close eye on a number of issues. And is this 676 we're looking at again, Bob?
No, this is the Schuylkill Expressway that we're looking at right now. If I can just also where Jeff Cole is set up, the Brandywine River Museum, that is a great spot. That's where they set up the model trains inside there. I just want to throw that out there because that's a great spot to go visit. But take a look at this. This is the Schuylkill Expressway right now between Conshohocken and Gladwin. And I don't know what would be going through my head right now, because I know we say don't drive through high waters, but you really don't have a choice here, I don't think. You're single file. You got police on the one side. You got peer pressure behind you, maybe a tractor trailer. I guess you're just going to give it a go. And that's what folks are doing here, staying in what would be the left lane. If you look, the headlights are almost covered in water, and it's only a matter of time before somebody is going to get stuck and then that's where we're going to have a water rescue underway here. But this is the Schuylkill between Conshohocken and Gladwin, and because of that, both directions, east and westbound on the Schuylkill Expressway, are just gridlocked. This guy off to the right, he made the smart move. He probably listened to us on the radio or maybe on the streaming and thinking, you know what, I'm just going to wait it out right here. That fella there on the right, that's the entrance from Conshohocken to go eastbound in toward downtown Philly. So we're flooded out there on the Schuylkill. Let's go over to South Jersey, where again, we have that tornado warning in Morristown and Mount Laurel. This is a live look at Route 38. Just off of Nixon Drive, not that far from the Morristown Mall, to kind of give you a locator. And then take a look at the conditions here along 295. This is down near the Black Horse Pike in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Also underneath that tornado warning till about 6:45, as Kathy mentioned. Let's jump on back to 611. Doylestown looks like it's gotten a little better there. Again, you don't have that heavy rain coming down, but still nonetheless, those secondary roads and side streets, the intersections just flooded out from all of the heavy rain. This is Norristown, Main Street closed. There's no access to the SEPTA Transportation Center. And if you look real close, you can see the big raindrops coming down on our camera lens here as we look live at the Girard Point double-decker bridge. Philly International in the background. I haven't even had a chance to look at the tote board, but I guarantee you there's going to be flight delays and cancellations from this afternoon, and that'll carry into tonight. And of course, a domino effect for tomorrow. Here's a live look from our Ben Franklin Bridge camera. You can barely see the skyline in the background there, but all the bridges, at least they're passable. But again, flash flooding at any time as you're driving around tonight. If you really just should stay in unless it's really an emergency, because again, you're going to get stuck in some of these flash flood waters, turning around, and now you're going through a detour, and you never know what's on some of these roadways. As we look live right here at 422 in Montgomery County. Just want to go back to the Schuylkill shot. Jump in, gang, if you want at any time, because here's a live look. That's the Schuylkill right near Conshohocken. Again, a result of that, 6 inches of rain that Kathy mentioned came through that area in the last hour and a half.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Let's take a look at I-95 South now, and you were mentioning just how bad it is out there. You know, you get stuck in this water. There's no coming back as far as your car is concerned. It is you can't come back from water damage. So just keep that in mind. Who wants to deal with insurance right about now? And by the way, it is past 6:30. We are staying on the air. We are committed to bringing you the very latest. As long as we're in a tornado warning, it's our commitment and our responsibility to continue to let you know. So extra is not going to be airing tonight.
Right. So this video that we're looking at, this is southbound 95 heading into Delco. I believe we have some photos to show you as well from Oxford, PA. And take a look at that. You can see some of the damage, massive trees, some crews already getting to work to clear that road. Southern Chester County tweeted this out from a PA State Police account from a public information officer there. So we want to say thank you to Trooper Kochka, if I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. But you can see just how strong these wind gusts are, taking down huge trees, and just how dangerous the roads can be right now. And it's the reason we're telling you to stay off of them.
Yeah, it's just, we're just taking a look at this devastation, and we're seeing it across our area. Widespread damage across New Jersey, across PA as well. Let's get to Kathy. It's been a while since we've heard from her. And what areas are you watching right now?
Well, I'm still watching South Jersey, but I want to comment on these pictures. These pictures obviously taken from Oxford. That is Southern Chester County, and that was when that first tornado warning went into effect. It was in Cecil County, Maryland. It crossed over the border, and that did significant damage, blocking the roads. And obviously, we're going to see if that was the work of a tornado. I would definitely not be surprised. Watching the tornado warning area in Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, and Philadelphia counties, that tornado warning until 6:45. This is bearing down on Haddon Township in Haddonfield. So everyone knows that cute little town of Haddonfield, New Jersey, and just make sure everybody's inside. Right along 295, Route 130 going through Haddon Township. Of course, that goes into 76 into the city. Westville, Belmar, Haddon Heights. Make sure everyone is inside and safe. Stay inside until this dangerous storm passes. You are in the tornado warning area, and this is obviously a huge warm and humid air mass dumping 1 to 2 inches of rain an hour, and obviously potential for tornadic winds. Collingswood, Greenhaven, Cherry Hill. The heavy rain is extending into Morristown. So please beware that this is an extremely dangerous storm. And the National Weather Service just put out a discussion about the tornadic activity in Camden and Burlington counties. And it is confirming that some of these supercells moving northeast along a slow-moving warm front could continue to focus tornadic activity in the next couple of hours over this area. So areas of Camden and Burlington County, the areas right now where the storm is moving, it's moving within an air mass unaffected by a lot of precipitation from earlier today. It should have the greatest tornado potential for the next 1 to 2 hours. So if you live in South Jersey, this is a significant storm, and don't let anybody venture out, because obviously we're going to be in it for a little while, and this could be an area of concern for the next couple of hours.
Yeah, National Weather Service is saying that a tornado was observed with this warning that's associated with Philadelphia, Camden, and Lindenwold, which expires here in 4 minutes. But as you so well put, do not venture outside right now if you're in these areas.
But as we've seen, every time one warning expires, another one or two pop up. So as we've been saying, this is a big storm. It's going to be with us for hours, especially over these next couple of hours, as Kathy just pointed out. But if the warning for your county is allowed to expire, that doesn't mean go have a cookout. Things are not in the clear quite yet. Just stick with us throughout the night, because it could remain hectic.
And that Platte Bridge shot on the top right of your screen, it's, you know, that's an upgrade. We're looking at increased visibility, and that's actually, even though the camera's shaking, it's still windy and raining.
We couldn't see that at all.
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago, couldn't see. So this is still a fast-moving storm, Kathy?
Yes, it certainly is. Moving northeast at 45 miles an hour, and this just in from the Weather Service as well. Damage from the same potential tornado in Mullica Hill from that reports of the tornado, a 911 call taken of significant damage in the Mullica Hill area in neighborhoods, including several homes damaged and trees down on Cedar Road. So that will be another area, obviously, that the National Weather Service will be investigating, as well as continued parts of Gloucester County and through Camden County with this tornado warning. But obviously we have, ground damage being reported already as well.
The amount of investigating they're going to have to do tomorrow to confirm some of these reported tornadoes, I mean, it's going to be a full day's work, at least, if not several days, because that's how you get them become confirmed, is when they say, yep, we had a tornado here. We're seeing a lot of videos online on social of reported tornadoes touching down, so we're trying to confirm the authenticity of some of those videos before we share them with you.
Now that we're seeing that pretty clear shot on the top right corner of your screen of South Philly, why don't we go back to Marcus Espinoza, who is in South Philly, and we've sort of seen the weather run the gamut every time we've checked in with him. First it was nice, then he was caught in pouring rain. I know you're wearing khakis today. You wanted to stay dry out there, Marcus. What are you seeing now?
Yeah, I swear I'm at the same location. We have not gone to 3 different zones here. So we're taking a look right now at the clouds where we just pulled back from them. They are moving quick. These bands are moving quick here. And now it's all calm and dry, just a couple sprinkles. I barely need this thing. Yeah, it's definitely it's a storm with an attitude right now in South Philly, and it's changing its mind about every 5 minutes. Right now it's calm, but that rain could pick up at any moment. How are you guys doing in the studio? Dry?
Actually, no. Our studio is leaking.
Funny
right
you
now.
should ask.
Not even kidding.
Oh, geez.
Marcus in the khakis. Jake from State Farm. Marcus, thank you very much. We continue to watch this tornado warning here in Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, Philadelphia. It's been such a widespread event. Multiple counties involved in a tornado warning for the last couple of hours. And we are 1 minute away from this one expiring. Is there still another one till 7 o'clock, Kathy? Oh, we don't have it,
Jason. We have a new tornado warning that just popped up. The tornado warning for Newcastle County, Delaware has expired, but there is a new tornado warning until 7:15 for northwestern Camden County, northwestern Burlington County, and south central Bucks County, also northeastern Philadelphia County. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was over the Golden Triangle or near Camden, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. This storm has a history of producing a strong tornado in Gloucester County, as you said before, that there was confirmation. So this is the same storm that produced a tornado in Gloucester County is moving toward the northeast right now at a pretty good speed. So this is moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So the areas of concern with this new tornado warning are, of course, northeast Philadelphia and parts of New Jersey, Philadelphia, Camden, Gloucester City, Cherry Hill, Bensalem, Mount Laurel, Willingboro, Burlington, Bristol, Riverside, Palmyra, Magnolia, Beverly, Audubon Park, Wissinoming, Feasterville, Trevose, through Cherry Hill Mall, and into Tacony. If there's anybody at the Cherry Hill Mall, if your friends are, it might be a good idea for them just to stay there, don't venture out. Make sure they, get in the center of the mall, away from the windows or in the bathroom, and just wait until this storm passes. This affects 95, it affects 76, it affects 295 in New Jersey, and 676 as well. So this is obviously a significant storm.
Time to get down to the food court if you are at the mall.
Get
Take
yourself
shelter.
a hot dog on a stick. Yeah. Fort Washington, you mentioned all the roads, 276. That's where our Kelly Rule is. You've been on the road, you've been on the move, and boy, nobody's getting through there, Kelly.
Well, you say that, but yet we are watching cars continue to try to get through this. You see cars in the middle of the intersection with their flashers on, not moving. But here we go. Here go the cars going right through it. Would not recommend this at all. Even if they're making it through, this is not safe. You can see there's a lot of debris and branches and trees down as well. So you don't know what's in that water, what your car is going to be going over. We saw a truck turn at one point. So this is the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and Commerce Drive. We saw a truck turn onto Commerce Drive. It was a truck, and it was up to about its headlights. So this is deep water. It's dangerous because you don't know what's in it. Obviously, a bit of a traffic nightmare right now, and I'm sure people want to get home, but this is not a smart situation to drive through. And it actually looks like some of these cars that are stopped have people in it. So it looks like they tried to go through. Now they're stopping. I mean, look at the speed that this white car is traveling. This is not good. Slow down. So again, if you pan a little bit to the right here, Dave, you can see a tree completely down here. So this road's actually impassable right now. And we do have some fire trucks trying to get through. I guess we'll see what they do. But again, Pennsylvania Avenue and Commerce Drive, if you are thinking about even heading towards this area, avoid it at all costs. Traffic mess, water mess. Water is still very high in the intersection there. People are driving through at a pace that I really can't make sense of, and it's not making it a better situation at all. So don't do this. That's all I can say. Don't be that guy.
It's as simple as that. Don't be that guy or gal, like Kelly says.
Or gal.
You know, the car coming to the stop, your vehicle being damaged is one risk you're taking, but we've seen it time and time again when you're working in news and weather at these times. It's when people get stuck and step out of the car. You don't know what's under the water, what you might be stepping into or onto, but a quick rush of that water can easily take your feet out from underneath you and carry you away. We've reported the most awful scenarios that started with this exact situation. So that is why they say time and time again, turn around, don't drive.
I think these guys are just almost entertained by the fact that people are driving through.
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting, but it's also dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, it's certainly something to see. Sorry, Kelly was going to chime in again. She's out there watching this whole scene.
I was just going to say, yeah, there is a crowd of spectators, but at one point they were yelling, don't do it, don't go through. There's not even a clear, people are kind of, going different lanes, but again, it looks like we have some first responders that just showed up, so hopefully they're going to help navigate traffic here.
You gotta shut that
exactly.
down. But it's just happening so quick.
Gotta shut it down.
Yeah.
Let's hope next time we go back to Kelly, the update is that nobody's driving into that anymore and everyone is safe. We will check back in with Kelly soon, but for now, let's go to our Shayna Ferreira, who is joining us live in Bensalem, an area that is still reeling from tornadoes a few weeks ago, and I see that rain is coming down hard right now, Shayna.
Shayna, I really don't know how else to put it, but it's just bad out here, folks. I mean, I'm looking at cars driving by. I'm going to have Brian kind of pan so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You see there are overwhelmed drains, and the cars are just kind of going through. I kind of compare it to, if you've ever been to an amusement park with a water ride, that's what it feels like when you're driving through it. It's very wet. It's very slick. Would not recommend driving. As, of course, we've been trying to let you guys know to heed some of these warnings, to stay home, to not be on the road. This is not the time that you really want to be out here. It is quite the mess. I mean, people have been parked. We did see some people parked under overpasses on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We actually came from Bucks County. We were driving south on 611 to get over to this area, and it was rough. I mean, people were still going pretty fast overall on these highways, trucks going by. We've seen one car flip over. We've seen some of the storm drains really popping up out of the cement on the sidewalk. So it's really not the ideal situation out here. So I'm just kind of looking at what I'm seeing here. It's getting rougher. The winds are picking up. So this is what we have so far for the latest here in Bensalem. Again, would not recommend if you have to leave the house. Just definitely stay safe, but wouldn't recommend being out here, guys.
And we see cars right behind you, Shayna, just trying to get through that intersection. And that's our first really good ground shot of just the torrential rain that has been coming through. And it's a good thing this is a fast-moving storm. Otherwise, can you imagine just a long-term downpour like that on some of our communities? It's just too much rain in a short period of time. We are not out of the woods yet. We continue to track a tornado warning right now. As Kathy has been a very busy meteorologist here, you're still looking at an urgent situation in Bucks, Burlington, Camden, Philadelphia even. What are you seeing?
Well, we're seeing obviously the storm keeping its strength. This tornado warning until 7:15. Also just got new information from the National Weather Service about this tornado that has a history, obviously, of damaging winds and also torrential rain as we continue to track the storm. Now, what they did say in the area of Winona is in Gloucester County. That's where this tornado came from. A trained spotter has reported thunderstorm wind damage and spotted a funnel cloud. There were damage reports from Winona, possibly due to the tornado. If that did indeed touch down, that's when you call it a tornado. But if they saw the funnel cloud and there's a lot of damage, that would be why. So we're tracking the same potential tornado. You can see the rotation with it. It is in the area of Cinnaminson and Delran, this part of Burlington County under the tornado warning. If we go to the warning area, you can see this tornado warning in effect until 7:15. So it has been extended through Burlington County. So it includes Cherry Hill, Meadowbrook, Maple Shade. Now it includes Morristown, New Jersey, Delran, Palmyra, Willingboro, Bristol, along 95, 13, and it also extends over the bridge into Bensalem and Bristol along 95. So please be aware of the extent of this tornado warning. Once again, that tornado warning in effect until 7:15, and yes, it covers a large area of real estate. And one of the cues that we look for with this is obviously we look for any type of rotation, and what the National Weather Service is looking at is the shear trackers. We saw the shear tracker with that tornado that was north and east, and wind shear is the speed and direction of the wind. So as you go up in the atmosphere, the speed and direction of the wind changes as you go higher up. And look at this tracker right from Delaware across the bay, being fueled by the warm water of the bay through Salem County. Follow that blue line. That is your rotating thunderstorm or your tornado going right through Cherry Hill, Belmar, and heading right where we were talking about, the bullseye, moving between Moorestown and heading right through Delran. I mean, that is where we're following this rotation through Cinnaminson. Pheasant Run is a neighborhood nearby in Delran. So this is the area of concern where you see the shear. Cinnaminson, Pheasant Run, Bellevue, Delran. Please make sure everybody gets inside and waits until this potential tornado passes. So once again, it's moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. It's moving at a pretty good clip here, and we're watching the storm. If I zoom in, you can see the area. I would right here, I'm going to take a zoom in, and this is the area that we're looking at right now through Delran, Delanco, Bellevue, Cinnaminson, along Route 130, and heading toward the northeast, Willingboro, and this is all going to be the area of concern up toward Ben Salem and including Route 13 and 295, guys.
All right, Kathy, thank you very much. Let's get to Bob Kelly now, who is watching the roads, and I can't even imagine being a first responder right now with the water rescues and the need for help that people have who, are stuck in the water.
Yeah, you know what? You think our phones are going off like crazy for these warnings. Just imagine the first responders from all over the area getting calls for water rescues and folks just stuck. Let's go outside, do a live look right here. This is 95, right in the area where Shana was up there in Bucks County. This is 95 right near Street Road. So again, the heavy rain coming down, so much rain in such a short period of time, creating that ponding. And of course, this is not that far from SEPTA's Cornwallis Heights Park and Ride. Let's go back to the Schuylkill Expressway. Notice the difference in the daylight. We go from daylight up there in Bucks County to, it looks like, we're in the middle of the night here on the Schuylkill, but the Schuylkill flooded out between Conshohocken and Gladwin. Now, what you're seeing, the headlights coming toward us are heading westbound, trying to get out toward King of Prussia. Only that far, what would be the left lane getting all by. And here comes a big rig tractor trailer. We talked about a log flume. He's going to create a huge wake here. And you really don't have any other choice, I think. You're kind of pushed by peer pressure to just keep on going, and you really don't know how deep it is until you're right on top of it. There is a gentleman that's walking around there. I assume that that's a police officer. I can only hope that he's allowing the cars to go through because it is safe and it's not high enough that someone's going to get stalled out. The eastbound side was flooded. That looks like it's been reopened. Here's a Route 309, a little further up from the Ford Washington interchange, right near 5 Points, where 309 and 202 all come together. That's all flooded out as well. Now let's go over to New Jersey. In the area, we have this tornado warning right now. This is a live look at Route 73 and 295 for the shaders, Maple Shade, New Jersey. Again, this is the Mount Laurel interchange of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. There's a live look at Route 130. Kathy mentioned that area, Cinnaminson, all the way up as you work your way all the way up through Burlington, that whole Route 130 corridor. Again, a lot of flooding. Now, here's a live look at the 42 freeway, where, again, we're flooded out on 295 at the same freeway interchange. So there's a lot of folks being rerouted and detoured, and that makes it even more difficult. So I can't stress enough that unless you absolutely have to go out, it's best to just stay put and stay where you are. Earlier damage along Route 30, down trees blocking Route 30 in Chester County, right near Coatesville. That blockage is at Reeseville Road. And then there's a live look at the Schuylkill Expressway, folks, jammed solid in both directions because of that flooding between Conchie and Gladwin. And finally, with SEPTA, again, the 102 trolley is not making it through the high waters near McDade Boulevard. And again, all of the SEPTA buses, trolleys are running with delays because they're trying to get through the same flooding and the same neighborhoods that everyone else is trying to get through as well.
All right, Bob.
Back to you guys.
Thank you. And we want to show you some video from one of our former interns, Kate McGlade, who took video of Tookenny Creek, Glenside in Cheltenham Township. And look at it, I mean, hard to even believe. Look at, there's a home right on the right side, and that water is, up over the steps as this rushes down. Just one of so many situations just like this as the rain just continues to pelt our area here over a couple of hours' time. So
they'll likely need some help. Anyone in that home and structures around there's clearly no safe way to get out of there. So they'll have to stand by and continue taking shelter.
Yeah, the basement's not the place to be in that house. So we're going to continue to follow that. And as the sun goes down and conditions are going to be deteriorating here by the hours, the rain continues to come down. And so we've got our crews everywhere. We're showing you every camera shot we can possibly imagine here. We do not have Skyfox, of course, on a day like today. So we're doing what we can to show you our reporters and our traffic cameras, as Bob's been doing. So we're just shy of 7 p.m. and still in a tornado warning.
And one of those reporters, one of our crews, is standing by. Shana Ferreira is in the Ben Salem area, where it is just coming down in sheets, and we're starting to see sort of white caps, that water flowing.
Shayna, that's right. You know, the last time we checked in about 10 minutes ago, I can already tell you that from what I'm seeing, the levels of this water here on Street Road have already began to kind of rise a bit more. So it very much is river-esque, if you will have me say that here on air. It's been pretty rough in the last 10 minutes. The rain has actually picked up a little more since the last time we also checked in. Not as windy as the last time we checked in. The sky has brightened up a little, which is, I guess, a good sign. But really, it's just been a situation where cars are really riding down the road and taking their chances. There's this intersection. I'll have Brian kind of pan to the left here, right on Street Road and the corner of Ridgely, right by the Fridays here. You see cars kind of standing by waiting for this light to turn green as they make their way down. You can see here they go. Did see some accidents coming off of the Pennsylvania Turnpike coming out of Route 611 from Bucks County. So it's not the time to speed and try to get home as soon as you can. Just really take your time here, but also stay safe while you do it. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Like she said, it's like a water ride, but the least fun, most dangerous water ride you could imagine. So definitely heed the warnings. Let's get over to Kathy now. We've seen every time a warning is allowed to expire, another pops up, and we have a few of them still active right now, Kathy.
You know what, this is going to be something, obviously, that we are not going to forget for a long time. I mean, this is going to be one for the history books for our region, with obviously multiple tornadoes and this widespread flooding. We're talking about this tornado warning that continues for Bucks, Burlington, and Philadelphia County. In Ben Salem, that is part of the danger zone right now. Bristol, Route 113, Levittown, into Middletown. So please make sure everybody's inside and make sure they're in the interior room, away from the windows, and wait until this storm passes. This cell has a history of impacting several counties, and there have been reports from Gloucester County to Camden County of tornadoes either spotted or the tornado damage. We just got this in from the National Weather Service in Cherry Hill Township. Multiple trees and wires are down around Cherry Hill. Obviously because of a possible tornado. We had Winona where a funnel cloud was spotted, and now this cell is moving up obviously through Bucks and continues into Burlington County. So we can't stress enough that we still have at least 15 minutes on this cell, and we have new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Bucks and Mercer, and that will continue until 8 o'clock tonight.
Well, let's just reset for everybody here as we are now past 7 o'clock. We are still on the air. As long as there's a tornado warning, we will continue to bring you live coverage here up until 8 o'clock. And then Kathy will do her best to keep you posted here on Fox 29 as well. Ultimate Doppler has been fired up. Kathy's using all the tools possible. If you look in the top right of your screen, that's an Old City. Let's take that full and just kind of show you, there's a break in the clouds, but if you just look at how quickly the clouds are moving there, you get an idea of just how fast this storm is moving. Old City, one of the only places in our market right now that's being spared of a heavy rainstorm. Then now there's South Philly. As you take a look at the Platte Bridge, on the bottom right, you see the windshield wipers are still moving. That's one road that is actually passable and drivable right now, but not the case for so many other intersections in our area. No county has been spared. We've seen it started with Chester County with a tornado warning at about 4 o'clock. And here we are 3 hours later, still tracking tornado warnings, and this storm is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, it's going to be with us for some time. I know Kathy's really zooming in and looking at certain parts of the map, but I wonder if we could take a zoomed out look at the radar just to see the sheer size of this storm. This is what is spawning these tornado warnings that we've seen, and you can just see how huge it is moving up the entire northeastern corridor of the country. So even when those warnings do expire, there's still going to be a lot of heavy rain, new warnings potentially that will fire up after. So just plan to hunker down through the night. And
again, I think a lot of people are at home going, all right, how long is this going to last? When are we going to be out of this? And I mean, Kathy, if you look at a watch, can you give us a time that you think will be out of the woods?
Yeah, I mean, this threat that's going to continue tonight, we're talking about severe thunderstorms in excess of 60 miles an hour, obviously a greater risk of tornadoes, especially as we go through the rest of the evening in South Jersey and Delaware, and that's where we're seeing them right now. And that tornado threat's going to continue until 10 o'clock tonight, until the spin in the atmosphere that we've been seeing, or that helicity, is going to shift off the coast. But the greatest spin is going to be over South Jersey and Delaware for most of the rest of this evening. It doesn't mean that we can't see another tornado spin up in PA, but that greater risk will be where we're seeing it right now.
So if you do have to go out and survey some damage, tomorrow will be a great day to go ahead and do that. Let's get out now to Jeff Cole. The last time we saw him, we saw that creek rising right behind him. I know you don't have measurement tools, Jeff, but hopefully we can use you, your very person, as sort of a measurement. How much has the area changed since we've last seen you?
Yeah, go right ahead. Go. I feel free to use my very person to try to measure this. I think it's come up maybe a foot since the last time we spoke, and that was probably 5 feet from mid-afternoon when we were here. So Mark Lavala, my photographer, is panning right here to show you what it looks like. The Brandywine River here in Chadds Ford, wide and active and deep. And look, here you go, right in front of you. Look at the large tree branch right in the middle of the river, just being roared and taken right down the river, hitting the branches as it comes and down the river. The Brandywine is absolutely swollen. If there's ever a time that you could use the terms a swollen river, the Brandywine is a swollen river right now. I'm just going to try to show you, see. So when we got here earlier in the day here, and again, we arrived here about 3:30 or so, this is sort of an embankment of stones that comes out along the edge of the river, and then there's a mesh of wire that keep the stones back. Well, we could look down and see that all the way down, almost, to the base of the river. It was 4 or 5 feet below us. It's right up now. The water has come right up now to the edge, or sort of the shore here, or the edge of the ground as it reaches, and it is going to climb up here over the grassy area here, and unfortunately come up against the Brandywine River Art Museum here in Chadds Ford. We've talked a lot about this, but they do have some devices, they do have some material here that they can hold this back. That's what it looks like here in the Brandywine. Folks, back to you.
All right, Jeff, let's get right back to Kathy. Some breaking news, Kathy.
Yes, we were talking about that rotation that was near Ben Salem and Bristol. There is a tornado emergency for Bristol, Croydon, and Burlington. The National Weather Service has issued this. A confirmed large tornado, destructive tornado, was observed over Beverly, or 12 miles southwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. A tornado emergency for Bristol, Croydon, and Burlington. This is a serious, dangerous situation, and you have to take cover now. Trenton, Ben Salem, Ewing, Willingboro, Florence, Burlington, Bristol, Bordentown, Pennington, Beverly, Yardley, Tullytown, Langhorne, Washington Crossing, Windsor, Florence, Woodside, Whitehorse. There is a radar confirmed tornado. You are in a situation where you have to take cover immediately. It's a confirmed large and destructive tornado observed over Beverly, or 12 miles southwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. And this is the area that we're talking about right here. So this is obviously a dangerous situation. The National Weather Service doesn't use words like a tornado emergency. Bristol and Croydon, obviously two areas that were hit hard within the past month with significant rain. You guys near the Neshaminy, you gotta take cover right now. Also in Burlington. So please, once again, we have a tornado emergency. At 7:02, a confirmed large and destructive tornado was observed over Beverly, New Jersey, or 12 miles southwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. It could be a deadly tornado. They are saying this is a significant tornado.
And this is why we're on the air right now. We really have to stay with this. This is, you don't hear tornado emergency very often. I mean, Kathy, I can hear it in your voice as we continue to follow this. Trenton, New Jersey, Levittown, Hamilton Square, New Jersey, all in this area. And that's for another, what, 20 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the obviously the area that we're talking about. And if we put this into motion, you can actually see, the direction that it's moving in, and it's coming up. You can see the spin. You see where that early spin is right here. There you have it. the Doppler radar indicator right there that's moving right over Ben Salem and Bristol right now, like as we speak. So if you can hear my voice and you're in the lower part of Bucks County, right here over Eddington, Croydon's right there underneath the swirl, Ben Salem to the west, and of course Bristol to the east, this is the area of concern. There is a Doppler radar indicated. It sounds like they say it's a confirmed large and destructive tornado. So that would be confirmed by the radar or someone has seen it. You're in a life-threatening situation and you need to get inside and definitely get into an interior room of your home or basement. Obviously, there is torrential rain with this. It's moving pretty quickly northeast at 40 miles an hour. And at that speed, the storm is going to cover, a good area of real estate in a short period of time.
National Weather Service saying in this particular area of the tornado emergency, there are 623,000 people here with 182 schools and 13 hospitals. So that's the kind of widespread, densely populated area in harm's way. Let's just hope people are listening, watching, and protecting their loved ones here and just getting away from the windows and staying down in the basement if you can.
The warnings mean they are imminent, and especially in this situation where we're talking about an emergency actually confirmed by either radar or by sight. So we can't stress it enough. Take shelter if you are in this area right now. We do have some images we want to show you in the meantime as we wait for these warnings to hopefully expire. This is some severe damage. These photos just coming into us from Oxford in Chester County. We just know this is along Slate Hill Drive, and look at the entire side of a home just ripped off. And this is why the warnings always say get to a basement if you can, but an interior room away from any windows if possible, or away from as many windows as possible, because this is the kind of severe damage that can be done with winds at this speed.
Well, I mean, if that right there is not a tornado, I don't know what is. I mean, I guess it could be just straight line winds, or just, I don't know, but half that entire facade is gone from that home. We have no reports of any injuries or anything quite yet. We are working to find out how everybody's doing. Obviously, property damage, trees down, power out. It's going to be a big cleanup process tomorrow, but right now we just got to get through. It's going to be several more hours, so we're going to stay on top of that. Let's get out to our Bob Kelly now. You're tracking the roads there. What are we looking at?
Yeah, well, we're going to, first of all, just want to, that development there is in Oxford, Chester County. It's the Wiltshire development right off of Route 1 and Route 472, kind of closer to the Delaware, Pennsylvania state line. Now, let's, our camera's right here. This is tracking that tornado warning right here. This is Route 1, right on the Pennsylvania side of the river, heading up toward Trenton. So that gives you an idea. The track from Falls Township heading up into Trenton. And then here's a live look at 95, again, right underneath this tornado warning that Kathy just told us about. As you're looking right there, Fairless Hills, Morrisville. So this camera on the right here, I'm going to pull back in, is pretty much right underneath that Fairless Hills marker for Route 1. That's what we're looking at right there. And we're going to slide this one back in again. That's the 95 side off to the left there, which is now 295, heading on up and over the Scudder Falls Bridge. Let's check in. This is a live look at, let's see, this is 95 in Ben Salem. So just 20 minutes ago, Shana was standing out in driving rain, and look what a difference just 15, 20 minutes can make there along that stretch of 95 in Ben Salem. However, the Schuylkill Expressway, the ramps to and from the Blue Route in the Conshohocken area still flooded out this afternoon. Here's a live look at Route 309. We're dealing with some flooding up at the 5 Points interchange. And then here's a live look at Route 73, excuse me, this is Route 38, right at Church, just up the street from the Cherry Hill Mall. Again, another area that is under that tornado warning, I believe, until about 7:30 or so. And we're going to go on up to Route 130. Route 130 right near the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Shane had said she saw some cars stuck in some floodwaters coming off of the Turnpike, and that would be the interchange. It's just amazing how at one point you can see daylight, and then within a matter of 10 minutes, the rain comes flying through, the high winds, and here you go. Here's another example. Here's the 42 freeway at 295. So this is that tornado warning that's coming up from the Belmar area, kind of traveling up that 295 corridor, if I could say that, New Jersey Turnpike, heading on up in toward Mount Laurel, Mount Holly, through Cherry Hill, New Jersey, heading on up into that Trenton area. And Route 30 still closed with that down tree at Reeseville Road there in Chester County.
Yeah, we saw all of those vehicles as they approached the flooded out areas, their hazard lights starting to come on just one by one. Yep. Absolutely a hazard all around.
Yeah, we're going to go back here. This is that area that's right underneath the tornado warning that Kathy's got up for us, Lower Makefield, heading on up into Trenton. Again, the traffic cameras, are experiencing the same type of craziness. Now, look at that. That was a matter of just a few minutes how we went from daylight to the darkness. I mean, that just shows you that this storm is right above this camera shot right here. You got, this is Route 1, again, going through Fairness Hills, the Levittown area. And we're going to hit this refresh button up top there. And that one, okay, so obviously this one is a little, this is 95, and this would be your Route 1 up in that Levittown, Fairness Hills, Lower Makefield, Trenton, coming up and over that Trenton-Morrisville Bridge and the Scudders Falls Bridge. We've also had reports of the construction zones. Look out for flooding on 95 at the Girard Avenue interchange, and then SEPTA having a rough go of it as well, with some floodings in the neighborhood and also down in along the Route 102 trolley. All traffic, or I should say, all those trolleys being diverted there at McDade Boulevard.
All right, Bob. Thank you very much. Let's continue to track this tornado warning now. And Kathy, looks like till 7:30 still for Bucks, Burlington, Mercer counties for this particular tornado warning. What about that tornado emergency?
Okay, yes. We are talking about the tornado emergency that is continuing. An observed tornado. The area of concern is obviously parts of lower Bucks County, northeastern parts of Bucks into Mercer County, and that does continue. I also wanted to update you on something that just came in. We have a flood emergency, a flash flood emergency over Bucks County until midnight. So please don't even travel in Bucks County. Any of the roads leading down toward the city. It is a flash flood emergency for a large part of the area. We're talking about emergency managers reported thunderstorms producing heavy rain, some of that associated with this tornado. Between 3 and 7 inches of rain have already fallen, and it's widespread across the county. So please, we talk about turn around, don't drown. This is the area. We're talking about Ben Salem, Quakertown, Percy, Doylestown, Bedminster, Chalfont, Tinicum, Newtown, Dublin, Langhorne, and Ivyland. Ivyland was the genesis of one of these tornadoes earlier. So please, if you live in Bucks County, don't go anywhere. You can't get anywhere. The roads are flooded, and we still have a tornado warning for part of your county. Well, so that is going to be ongoing through tonight. It's
like you said, treat it like a snowstorm. You're not going anywhere in this type of weather.
Absolutely. There was also a report of a funnel cloud in Tullytown, Bucks County. A spotter in Florence reported a funnel cloud crossing the Delaware River. So that was most likely part of the warning that we had that was in Bucks that crossed over from New Hope to Lambertville. So there are going to be multiple tornadoes that are going to have to be investigated by the National Weather Service, and this will probably take days. On Ultimate Doppler, you can see that tornado warning area, Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County. And I want to go over to our radar computer and show you something I outlined, an area of concern that you can see through Trenton and Ewing and Lawrence. This is where our tornado concern is right now, and we're watching this move toward the northeast at 40 miles an hour. So right now, the storm is moving fairly quickly, and it's going to continue to do that. And we're watching the dangerous part of the storm. You can see over the Levittown area, all this is moving toward the north and the east fairly quickly. So if you live in any of these areas, obviously, please stay inside and wait until the storm passes. This is the crux of the storm through Lower Makefield, Morrisville, and heading into Ewing and Trenton, and points to the north.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Let's head back out now to Shayna Ferreira. She is in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, and that water just increasingly looking like a river behind you, but that is a road. We can see the headlights. We see people still driving through it, which is unadvised. What's the latest out there, Shayna?
Shayna, 100% correct. not advisable at all. You see them here. I'm actually going to have Ryan kind of come down here. You got to see the water has, as you mentioned, become kind of like a river. And if I step forward, I don't want anybody to get funny on me and, whack me with some water. But it is quite getting deeper as you move towards the sidewalk and off that sidewalk. I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, these storm drains have been overwhelmed by the amount of rain that's coming down. It's actually just picked up in the amount of time that it took to toss out live to me here. But again, people still managing to kind of get through these roads, even speeding by these roads, almost causing an accident. Really not the safest thing to do. It is not what you should be doing out here. If you have to be out here, as we've mentioned, please take it slow. This is not a game. It's not to be played with. It could be very dangerous. You can kind of see just how it keeps swarming up, almost like a river. So it's not fun at all. We did make mention that it's almost like a kind of like a water park slide thing, but not the fun one. You could see them starting to make their way. These folks are taking it slow. Good for them for heeding some of those warnings that we're seeing. But again, Shayna, not a good situation right now.
Absolutely not. You stay safe out there and on high land. It appears like that median next to that fire hydrant is going to be an island pretty soon. So you stay safe and dry out there, of course. Thank you for keeping an eye on Ben Salem for us, Shayna.
The thought is that people will just get a head start, get a nice little speed, and then you'll make it through okay. I think the people just punch it and get through it. That's not how it works.
Yeah, tires can still be lifted up.
Yeah, I just want to mention a tweet from the National Weather Service that they were talking about that storm, the confirmed tornado in Burlington that was crossing into southern Bucks. It is now headed towards Trenton. They say take cover if you are in that warning. So that's an area to be watching as well right now. Jeff Cole is now live there along the Brandywine River, and looks like it's coming down pretty hard where you are.
We're getting pounded here. All of a sudden, it was sort of coming fairly lightly. The rain was light. All of a sudden, it's just opened up, and it is just pounding away at us here, as you can obviously see as you look at me. Here's Mark Lavala, my shooter, and we're just going to walk you a little bit down to the Brandywine River. I've been saying here throughout the early evening as we've been here, this thing is just rising so remarkably quickly, literally rising every few minutes. It seems to be coming up, and you can see. So if folks were watching earlier, they see that I was referring to the stones that are covered in wiring here right along the edge of the riverbank. Well, I mean, they're really literally being covered by water at this point. The folks here at the museum who are accustomed to the water rising think that this river is going to get to about 14.7 feet. That's going to take it well above this and go up along the side of the building here. They think they have reinforcements and they're okay, but it is remarkable here to just stand alongside the Brandywine, the swollen Brandywine, as the rain continues to pound, and this river just continues to rise, and obviously will continue to rise throughout the evening. It's been remarkable, literally, what you see here. We actually saw a picnic table go running down the water here. Lots of heavy trees, all kinds of debris are just flying down the water and getting, down the river and getting caught up not far from us, where it looks like they're sort of clogging up here, but the river is really rising. The heavy rain now is continuing. No wind, really. It's just straight rain and coming down really hard, and the muddy Brandywine is continuing to rise tonight as we report here live in Chadds Ford near the Brandywine River Art Museum. Folks, back to you.
Yeah, it's incredible to see it rising there behind you in real time. All right, stay safe out there. Thank you very much, Jeff.
We continue to cover what is becoming a historic storm in our area here. Tornado warning in these areas. Kathy has been busy tracking it right now. It continues. We're looking at a tornado warning. Is it till 7:30 or 7:45 at this point, Kathy?
Well, right now I'm looking at new information that's coming in about the tornado warning. We have a new tornado warning for Mercer, Bucks, and Hunterdon. Same tornado warning, I believe, is our tornado emergency, but this tornado now is for south central Hunterdon and northwestern New Jersey, central Mercer County, where that tornado is right now, in central Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania. It was a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado It's 15 miles west of Trenton, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. So this may be actually a new tornado. It was located over Ivyland, once again, where we had a location of a tornado earlier. And this is a cell that is moving toward the northeast at 25 miles an hour. So this was our tornado that we're watching in Mercer County. And now let's go back over to Bucks and Ivyland, which is over here. And this is moving, here's Ivyland right here. This is the cell that we're talking about right there. This is the cell moving northeast at a pretty good clip, 25 miles an hour. It's moving northeast, and the areas that will be impacted include Pennington, New Hope, Ivyland, Richboro, Washington Crossing, Lambertville, and Newtown. So we just had a storm going over this area, and now it appears we are going to have another potential tornado going across the same area. Once again, this is the area that we're talking about. It's Ivyland, of course, in Bucks County, and this storm is moving northeast at a pretty good clip at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. And at that speed, it will be over Pennington, New Hope, Stockton, Richboro, Washington Crossing, go over the Delaware into Lambertville within the next 10, 15 minutes. That warning is until 7:45.
All right, thank you, Kathy, and we're just continuing to see, you can see the skyline of Philly right there, and obviously the ominous clouds above, and you know, and as bottom of the right, you see there as far as roads conditions are concerned, I mean, it's at least there's nobody else, and one of our crews there, nobody else to contend with there.
Right,
good.
On the roads. I mean,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
This is where you want to drive extremely slowly, and that's the reason we're able to bring you this video here, because it's not such an extremely dangerous place to drive, but we know it can change in an instant, so that's why we make sure to, all of our crews, they're very safe. They know not to put themselves in danger. Of course, they don't want to, so anything we're showing you is going to be a relatively safe area. Some of the worst that we're seeing right now, we're not able to show you for obvious reasons.
But we have a safe shot with Marcus Espinoza in South Philly. Marcus, what are you seeing?
Hey, Jason. Hey, Shana. Well, I'm all dried off because that wind that Jeff Cole doesn't have, it's all over here right now. It is a pretty hard task to keep this umbrella down right now. I'm going to Mary Poppins my way out of here if it gets any higher, but the rain has completely stopped. It's really just a wind situation at this point. So welcome to part 4 of South Philly's storm here, as it has gone from mild to heavy rain to a bit of nothing to now we got really, really intense winds, as my photographer Shane McEachern is trying to hang on to his hat as well. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with now. Heavy winds, and those can be dangerous as well. You can make sure to try to buckle down those windows and try to board them up. Make sure things are locked. Make sure you're not standing by any windows right now. The wind is what can cause a lot of damage. Do not underestimate it really at any point. So South Philly dealing with some heavy wind right now, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Marcus. And, you know, it would be easy to assume that if you're in that area in Philly, like Marcus is, the rain has moved out. It's just wind. It could feel like you're in the clear now, but that is not the case. We've seen how large this storm system is, and we've got a couple more hours here at least. And the roads, fortunately, we're getting a little farther and farther away from rush hour, so the roads are clearing a bit. You don't have as many people trying to get home at the moment, but there are still many people out there, maybe some who have waited it out and are thinking about hitting the road soon. So, Bob, would you say that's a decent idea at this point, or what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, well, I think we still have folks that are still trying to get home. What's good is I think a lot of folks did see that the storm was coming and were able to leave early, grab the kids early, and get on home. What we saw earlier was that, you know, that bottleneck of folks trying to do that. That was a live look right there of 95 in South Philadelphia. Here's a live look. This is Route 1 up in Bucks County. Right between New Falls, heading on up into Trenton. Again, right underneath that tornado warning that's heading north up and toward that Trenton area there. So Route 1, be careful. What we've seen so far since we've been on the air here since about 3 o'clock is as these storms come through, it rolls over. It goes from a steady calmness, and then that quickly the winds pick up, the downpours, the high winds, the debris, and then that quickly we're out of here. Here's a live look at 95 up in Bucks County, Bend Salem, right near the park and ride, SEPTA Park and Ride. This shot here is the Schuylkill Expressway, the off-ramp into Conshohocken. Looks like this Schuylkill is moving again. It had been flooded out between Conshohocken and Norristown. I'm getting word of accidents on the turnpike eastbound between Norristown and Fort Washington. This is a look at Route 309 north of the Fort Washington interchange, all the way up toward 5 Points. Now, here's a live look. This is Route 38. Right near the Cherry Hill Mall, and just notice the changing in the scenery as we go quickly from one area to another. Again, this is a sign that heavy storm is right over Cherry Hill, New Jersey, working its way up that 295 corridor through Mount Laurel, New Jersey, the New Jersey Turnpike. This is Route 130 up near the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and here's a live look at the 42 freeway right in that Belmar interchange where 295 is all flooded out in the work zone in Belmar. Still the same situation with SEPTA, the 102 trolley. They're diverting all traffic and using shuttle buses at McDade Boulevard because of the high water.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob. Keeping us safe on the roads and keeping us ahead of this thing.
Way past his bedtime, by the way.
I'll say we appreciate you joining us late in the evening, Bob.
There's a lot of people who just can't avoid driving. They're coming home from work. They're doing things. They just can't avoid it, and so they're trying to get home safe. And in some cases, putting themselves in harm's way. I mean, there's not really a safe intersection out there, or at least you can assume that.
So again, if you can, just stay off the roads. I want to sort of reset now. We're coming up on 7:30. We do have warnings in effect until, I believe, 7:45 at this point. Kathy, what is the latest that you're seeing?
Well, just when you thought it was until 7:45, Shayna, there's a new tornado warning for Mercer, Middlesex, Morrison, Somerset. Of course, Middlesex, Morrison, Somerset out of our area, but for Mercer County until 8:15. It's part of the same cell that was in Mercer and Bucks, moving toward the northeast. So this is the cell that we're talking about. You can see it on Ultimate Doppler. This is a tornado, a rotating thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. And you can see right now through Warrington into Buckingham, Furlong, and also Jameson, this is the area of concern for that potential tornado. And this area is very widespread. So the areas of concern were through Bucks County and heading into places like along 202, through Lahaska, into New Hope, and into Lambertville. You are in the path right along 202, Lahaska in it right now, with torrential rain and the possibility of significant wind with a tornado warning. So once again, you continue to be in that tornado warning for parts of Bucks County. We have also added Mercer County, Middlesex, Morrison, Somerset. So Bucks County still in that warning at least until 7:45. In Mercer County and Lawrence Township, thunderstorm wind damage, trees and wires down. In Lawrenceville Township, of course, possible tornado. We're talking about Mercer County continuing to be in that warning area. So once again, we have just torrential rain. The river flooding has begun. That's going to continue into the overnight, and our streams and our creeks already running high. And you have to also imagine long after this rain is gone, we're going to see river flooding, I would think, into the weekend, because all of those tributaries are going to drain into the major rivers.
And same with the trees down and some of the blocked highways. It's going to take some time to dig out from this. As we mentioned, this storm just turning out to be an epic one, living up to what we feared it would be as we sort of anticipated the remnants of Ida. And here it is. It is here to stay, at least for the next several hours, as we continue to track our tornado warning here just past 7:30. So a good 3-4 hours into it, and it has not let up. We are continuing to track that. Flood warnings out there. And this was a night that we saw a tornado emergency. And we continue to see that. There are videos circulating out there that we're working to verify of potential funnel clouds, tornadoes there. So we're going to have to wait and see if those are legit. You never know these days. So it's been a night to remember.
Yeah, all around our area. And we do have crews, our reporters and photographers, spread out trying to show you some of the damage already and some of this as it is happening. Dawn Timoney is roving out there. I believe she's in the Conshohocken area. Tell us specifically where you are, Dawn, and what have you seen?
Well, Shana, we're actually making our way to Conshohocken. We're in Limerick, Montgomery County. Let's take a look. We are roving. We are on Route 422 East. As we take a look at the rain coming down on the road. I have to tell you, we were just in Pottstown and ended up following an emergency vehicle trying to rescue some people. The flash flooding that we have run into today has been crazy. There were 3 vehicles just submerged in the water, happening extremely fast. We pulled over to try to get some video, and then the emergency responders are like, we got to get out of here because the creek behind this building where this road was rising so fast, and these 2 cars or 3 cars were sort of submerged. The people were able to get out and get to safety, but by the time we were all pulling out, the cars were completely underwater. You can see the visibility is not great. It's been raining on and off all day. We've encountered some times where we could barely see out the windshield. That's how bad it is. Then you get some lulls. It's starting to pick up again. But again, right now we're along Route 422, headed towards the Conshohocken area, but just water everywhere, cars being submerged, people having to be rescued. It's been quite an afternoon and evening so far, and we obviously, because it doesn't seem to be letting up, expect to see more. So we will bring you the images as we see them. But yeah, if you don't have to go out in this rain, it's definitely a good night to stay inside.
Stay inside, and hopefully your power stays on as we continue to watch just power outages for us. And we'll check with PECO and some of the other companies as well. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, we got trees down, we got power lines down in some areas, and we're going to have to monitor just how long it would take crews to get power back on. A couple thousand people at last check, but that was about an hour and a half ago. So we'll get you the latest numbers as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's only going to rise as the night goes on, and we're seeing more and more reports come in, especially as night starts to fall, as we're losing daylight. We're starting to get a bigger picture of some of the damage around the area. I'm curious, Kathy, about the back half of this very, very large storm. We're more focused in that north region at the moment where there are active warnings, but are you seeing much developing on the back half where some of these other counties have already had their warnings expire?
That's a great question. We still have that tornado warning in effect for Mercer and Middlesex, Morris, and Somerset. I just got information that the National Weather Service may be allowing Bucks County to expire. I'll get confirmation on that. As we watch and look a little bit farther back, we're still seeing some streamers or more lines of showers and thunderstorms coming up from the south, and that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on for the next several hours. The severe threat is going to continue until about 10 o'clock tonight, so that is something that we really have to be watchful of for at least the next 2.5, 3 hours. As we look at Doppler radar, we're looking at that tornado warning area that still exists, and as far as the precipitation is concerned, we have more flash flood reports, multiple water rescues ongoing across Mercer County, and more flash flooding. We do have that tornado warning, as I mentioned, continues for Mercer, Middlesex, Morris, and Somerset County. Now, if we could go back to our maps computer and I can show you Ultimate Doppler, you can see the rotation as all this moisture is just being pulled up from the south. And we do have additional severe thunderstorms to talk about. It seems like there's been severe thunderstorms over central and southern Delaware for hours. And here we go, guys. I mean, all of this is being pulled up from the south, so we're watching more thunderstorms wrapping around, and here is another line of the thunderstorms you can see extending down to the south through Delaware, and another line crossing the eastern shore of Maryland. So to answer your question, I mean, we've got these storms coming up from the south, we've got these storms coming up from the south, and then there's a weaker line over eastern Virginia. So all of this has to come up into the Delaware Valley, and I do think they'll be more focused in South Jersey and Delaware as we get closer to the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour.
And that's, unfortunate, because we're talking about an area, South Jersey got hit, and it's becoming clear on some of the social media pages out there that South Jersey and Mullica Hill saw a twister, and some of the video is incredible, but to think there's more to come is it's a scary thought. So people really should stay tuned. Of course, we'll be on the air at 10 o'clock tonight when this happens as well. So you want to stay right here with FOX29, download our weather app, and download our app as well. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and as mentioned, flooding, the flash flood warnings, it's going to be a huge issue. Even as some of the severe weather does move out, there's still such heavy rain across the entire area. So that is going to be a problem for days to come as we wait for the water to crest, those rivers to crest and come back, and all of the cleanup that's going to have to be done. You can imagine some areas in our region still cleaning up from the last round of destructive storms and tornadoes. So not a fun situation, which is why we are still on the air, keeping everyone ahead of it, because when you see warning, as you do right now, it means you do need to take shelter immediately. A tornado could be imminent.
Yeah, it means it was spotted right on the Doppler radar, or possibly observed by somebody on the ground. And right now there are dozens, if not hundreds, of cars just submerged in water, just stalled out. Some with people in them, people have just ditched the cars and have left them there. This is going to be an effort to get rid of those cars and the roads here in the next several hours, if not tomorrow. The cleanup is going to take possibly days. There are trees down. We have shown you images. I don't know if we can pull them up once again to show some of the damage to some homes. There are entire homes, facades just gone on one side, trees down, split in half like toothpicks. And this is, a couple of hours ago. And so we're continuing to track some of the damage out there. Jeff Cole?
Yeah, we keep talking about the water rising so fast and how much flooding will be an issue. And we've seen the Brandywine River. Jeff has had to just continually move farther away from it as it rises and rises. Jeff?
Yeah, well, actually, there's an area just behind me where the water is already breached up onto the grass here behind me. So it is actually breaching the land and moving forward. We're going to be careful as we walk to the edge here, because the edge is diminished a little bit. But you can see, if you can make this out, and if you've been watching us, one way to sort of figure out how quickly the water's come up here is there's a stone barricade, a stone edging that forms along the edge of the river here. Guess what? Can anybody see it? I can't see it. I'm standing right here. I know our viewers can. The water has come right up over it. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to make an assessment here, but this is 6 or 7 feet or maybe more of water that has risen in, I don't know, since about 3:30 this afternoon when we actually first arrived here. We thought this would be a good place to sort of to be able to show our viewers exactly how the water would rise and how these rivers would swell with all this rain. And here is a perfect example of it. This is the Brandywine, as we've said, in Chadds Ford. This is Delaware County. This is right here on the edge of the Brandywine River Museum. They have the work of the Wyeth family that is stunning here. It's up on the higher levels, on the upper levels of the Brandywine River Museum. So they've moved all their equipment away. They have a device here that will keep the water back. They expect to go to 14.7 here. Let me say that again. They expect to go to 14.7 feet. The water's going to go way up on this grass, way over in this walkway, and be, I don't know, halfway up of that wall that Mark is showing you right now. Wow. That gray wall there. Can you imagine? That's what it's going to be, apparently. And these folks seem to know what they're talking about here, because they've seen the water come up before. They've got actually some sort of measuring or a meter device that's on the side of the building as well. But yeah, let me just show you. They think, this is what the guy who's the head of maintenance here and security and facilities said. He thinks it's here. He thinks it's here. Wow. By the, by tomorrow when it's high. And, I know I've shown you this before, but it's just interesting to point out. I mean, they've got to save this facility. It's a beauty. So this is a big old, what they call a water gate or a floodgate that they throw in here, and they bolt. They've got pumps on the other side so they can pump water out. They realize they're going to get some water into this building. How could they not if it gets this high? Yeah. But they've moved all their equipment out. And once again, the great work of the Wyeths is upstairs there and well along away from the river. I know you want to take back, but let me just look back one more time. There is the Brandywine, if you can see it at all, and it is rising and rising fast. Yeah, folks.
It's not hard to believe that the water will get just as high as they're expecting. They're bracing for when you see how fast it rose, just as we've seen you since we've been on the air these past few hours. Thank you very much, Jeff.
And every creek and river in our area is really doing the same thing right now. It is rising. We saw a tweet from our Chris O'Connell. Darby Creek in Wayne is rising, about to come up to the street. That is to be expected. We did get a an email from the Philadelphia Police Department telling us that Kelly Drive is closed in both directions. Hunting Park to Sedgley due to the flooding, as well as MLK Drive. And Bob has more on this. And again, not a surprise, Bob, but it is, we should consider all these roads closed at this point.
Yeah, especially at this, this hour. We've seen what's happened here. We've been on the air for since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. All of this water and more rainwater to come. Certainly buckle down, and if you can, we all can work from home. Let's certainly try to do that as best we can for tomorrow morning, because it's not going to be over yet. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up to some of these roads that are still underwater, and then the downed trees come into play, and possible power lines. This is a live look at Route 30 in Chester County, where again there's a slew of downed trees and flooding along Route 30 in Chester County near Reeseville, down there Coatesville. Here's a live look at I-95 right near the stadium complex. You see the baseball and Wells Fargo Center there in the background. If you intend to fly or you have tickets out of town tomorrow, I would definitely check with the airline, because I don't think anything's going to be on time tomorrow. The combination of not being able to get planes in today during the storm is going to result in a backlog. They can't get them in. We can't get them out. Here's a live look at I-95 northbound, flooded out at Girard Avenue in the construction zone. So leaving Center City, heading into the northeast, a tough go. And I don't think we have a lot of folks that have been going out tonight. I think what we have now is a lot of folks that are still trying to get home. Maybe they did watch us earlier, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rock, and said, you know what, we're going to stay put until this thing, kind of bypasses us. And as quick as it bypassed, another storm, as you know, they kept coming, these tornado warnings and watches. The phone's going like crazy. Here's a live look at 95 up in Bensalem, right near the Cornwallis Heights parking lot. That's another thing. SEPTA, if you took SEPTA, you get your car, you take the train up to the Cornwallis Heights parking lot. Now you got to navigate your car back home from, the parking lot. And some, those parking lots could be underwater. Here's a live look at the Schuylkill on the right. All the brake lights, that's westbound, were flooded out at Belmont Avenue. There was some flooding out near Conshohocken. We got a PennDOT crew out there. That opened it back up. But I wouldn't be surprised if we flood again on the Schuylkill Expressway. Again, between that stretch. Actually, they're telling me now again, just as I just saw that, both directions again closed between Conshohocken and Belmont Avenue on the Schuylkill Expressway. So I'm going to go back to that camera again. That's the reason for that backup there. So again, the Schuylkill closed both directions. The same situation we had last week, if you may remember. Now, this is Route 309. North of the Fort Washington interchange. Again, we're dealing with flooding at Fort Washington and also at 5 Points. And wrapping it up here, here's a live look at Route 38 right near the Cherry Hill Mall. So again, I can't stress enough, if you're home watching us, you're safe, stay there. And hopefully anyone you are waiting for them to come home, they get home safely and put the car in park and keep it there. And of course, we'll be on with you till this is all over, and we'll be here tomorrow morning as well.
Yeah, long day for you and for everybody else out there. Exactly. I mean, everyone's dealing with some level of flooding and damage here. Some areas obviously worse than others, and we're still getting a video. We'll turn that around for you as soon as we can, showing you some funnel cloud activity, trees down, you name it. This storm has brought it all, even just a tiny bit of hail, but everything else has brought what you can imagine a storm like this would bring, Kathy.
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot to talk about right here. We do have that tornado warning still for Mercer, Middlesex, Morrison, Somerset. The good news is the storm looks like it's moving out of Mercer County as we speak. We also have to talk about the flash flooding. I mean, look at this. You see all that red and orange? This is obviously where our flash flooding is the worst. We have Warrenton, Bucks County, Norristown, Charlestown, West Goshen. Take a look at some of these totals. Upper Providence, 6 inches of rain. Pottstown, 6.8. Milford, 5.8. Buckingham and Bucks County, 6.5. Warminster, around 5 inches. Abington, 5.2. In the area of Easttown, 6.5. Uchland, 8.6 inches of rain. West Vincent, of course, in that as well. Very heavy rain highlighted in the red. That's 7 inches of rain. So it's this heavy rain, obviously, over a huge area, all of our counties to the north and west of Philadelphia. And that is why we have a flood warning. everywhere. I mean, all of our northern western counties under that flood warning, and it is obviously a dangerous situation. The National Weather Service put out a flash flood emergency, just reissued it for a large portion of Bucks County. We're talking about life-threatening flash floods, turn around, don't drown. The areas have been Salem, Quakertown, Percy, Doylestown, Bedminster, Chalfont, Newtown, Langhorne, Ivyland, and obviously the Pennsylvania Turnpike, 95, the Northeast Extension. So obviously we've had between 3 and 7 inches of rain, and widespread flash flooding is occurring, and this warning is until midnight.
Well, okay, it's going to be a long night, and we'll be here to cover it up until then. Marcus Espinoza live in South Philly. The rain has been coming down off and on where you are, Marcus. What are you seeing now?
Hey, Jason, it's pretty calm right now. It seems to have moved past, but the skies are still really, really dark and ominous, and it looks kind of like a Stephen King novel here. So still definitely a situation, even though the rain and wind have calmed down. A couple things to go over right now. It's going to be a heavy cleanup day across our viewing area tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of people in need of a lot of help, and there's ways you can help right now. You can get on your phone. Almost everybody has a mobile phone. You can donate to the Red Cross. You can make those donations local as well. Also, text your friends and family that are out there, see if they're okay, possibly FaceTime them or video call them to see if they're doing all right. A lot to get going right now, so we're all trying to make it through this moment right now. There's a lot of people out in our viewing area who have lost just about everything and really want to rally around them and start thinking about them right away, because going into tonight, first responders, and tomorrow, they got a long 24, 48 hours ahead of everyone.
That's a good point. I mean, there may be people out there who've lost everything for all we know at this point. Just looking at just some of the damage we've seen, it is going to be devastating for many families out there, so we're thinking about them. But obviously, saving lives is first and foremost today. And again, we're still looking into whether anybody's been injured in these very sudden and fast-moving storms that have taken a lot of people, not necessarily by surprise, because we've been warning you about this incoming storm. But, you know, it's one of those deals where you kind of believe it when you see it, and here it is.
Even when you know it's coming, especially the rising water. They call them flash floods for a reason. It can rise so quickly and catch you off guard, even when you know it is coming. But we are getting a lot of reports of damage. We're seeing incredible images and video. We're hoping to get some of those on the air to you in a moment. But Kathy, what area are you the most focused on right now? It looks like Kathy's microphone is...
You there, Kathy?
Hey, guys, I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so right now I'm looking still at that tornado warning in Mercer, Middlesex, Morris, and Somerset. That's our only tornado warning. It looks like the potential tornado is moving out of Mercer County as we speak, but they have not allowed that to officially expire just yet. I think that will be coming soon. We have over 6 inches of rain being reported in Lehigh County, Burlington County, New Jersey. We have reports of 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Wow.
And, of course, the flash flood warning that has just gone into effect for Mercer County and also Hunterdon County. So the flash flooding, I think, is going to take over a little bit later on and be our biggest issue. We have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Hunterdon and Mercer. So I do think that the National Weather Service will allow this to expire very soon, as they have a severe thunderstorm warning that's taken over the area. So that's a sign that the storm, the potential tornado over Mercer County, is weakening. And
as you mentioned, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. You don't need to be hit by a tornado. If we're seeing 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, that's enough to really cause damage to not only trees, but homes and downed trees. And so, again, we're trying to survey just how widespread this damage is. It's really hard to tell right now. As she mentioned, you know, Kathy was talking about the widespread flash flooding, and so that will be the urgent situation here tonight. Looks like the rain is still coming down. I mean, at different points. The bridge there at the bottom right of your screen in South Philly right there is the Platte Bridge. We've been watching that shot, and it still looks like visibility is okay. One of our crews there, we're working to find out where that is on the top right, but it looks like traffic is moving smoothly in this area. It's just been it's a tough commute, and people are out there, and many stuck. Many have needed first responders to help get them out of harm's way. and we want to think about them tonight as well. All the first responders, what a busy night it must be for them to help some of these people in need.
Yeah, and not just inland in the cities and the suburbs. The National Weather Service actually just put out a special marine warning. Parts of the southern parts of the shore actually saying possible water spout. So all kinds of potential phenomena coming from this storm. All reasons to hunker down and take shelter tonight. So this video that we just got in is coming from Mullica Hill. And just take a look at that. Kathy, I don't know if you're able to see this in the weather office right now. I mean, that looks to me like a funnel cloud, but I'll leave it to you, the expert.
Yeah, I mean, that does look like a very large funnel cloud. And this potentially could have been part of the storm, and it most likely is when we talked about that dangerous situation and that serious tornado warning, the tornado emergency. I mean, you can see how large that is, and if that's actually touching the ground behind those trees. And to me, it looks like it could very well be.
Yeah, same here too. And as you look close at that funnel cloud, it is moving, as you mentioned, slowly. Hard to tell, what's in that direction. Is it a rural area? You hope it is, not in a more densely populated area. But this is just jaw-dropping video that really confirms what you've been looking at here on your radar, and now this gives us a visual confirmation of what folks in South Jersey have seen. Not just South Jersey, but everywhere, where we've seen warnings.
Absolutely. We're talking about that tornado, emergency tornado, potentially on the ground, and this is most likely it.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously we're still in a tornado warning, as Ultimate Doppler on the top right shows us.
Looks like it was just dropped.
Good.
Cancels Mercer County. So the tornado threat right now has ended in our region. We still obviously are not out of the woods yet, but there are no active tornado warnings in our area right now.
We'll cross our fingers for that. There are still flash flood warnings, however, and that will be the case. Wilmington, Delaware, Norristown, Newark, Delaware. That's going to be a long-term event. That's until midnight. So flash floods and still wind and you name it, just not any tornado warnings. So great news. It gives us a chance to take a breather here and exhale a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But as Kathy has said, this is a very big storm. We've seen it every time she zooms out and you take the bird's eye view of the radar. You can just see this monster of a storm. And these are the remnants of Ida, just moving their way up through the northeastern corner of the country. And you can see really that area of focus to the north that we've been so focused on, moving into the New York region, but still plenty of rain, plenty of heavy rain, flooding possibilities, likelihoods at this point, and still some severe bands on that back half of the storm. So we can't say it enough. Don't exhale too much.
I know.
We're not in the clear quite yet.
But I wonder, Kathy, if you just historically, you've been, a meteorologist and forecasting here for a very long time. Just try to maybe put this into perspective historically.
Within the past month, we had a number of tornadoes needing to be investigated by the National Weather Service, and that was significant. But add on top of it the degree of flash flooding with this. And we've seen no other tropical storm remnants come through like Isaias, even, stronger in the sense of they could still be tropical depression, so forth. But this, I haven't seen anything like this in a very, very long time. I mean, the amount of rain, the coverage of the rain, the flooding, many people may compare it to Floyd in 1999. With the tornadoes, it could be worse. So we're going to have to wait and see what the river flooding actually ends up being like, which could be significant. And just by looking at these rain amounts, and it's not stopping that soon at all. And I want to show you right now this eastern shore of Delaware right here. I'm watching this because it's not tornadic, but it's a severe thunderstorm. And see this right here? It's kind of bulging. That's a bow echo. And that means there's wind damage with that. And if we look at the direction that that's moving in, that is obviously heading right toward Cape May and into Cumberland County. So if you live in Cape May County, if you're down the shore this week, this is going to cross the very warm waters of the Delaware Bay and it's going to head right over into Jersey. So the western part of Cape May County, Maurice River, Fortescue, please be aware that perhaps you could see a few water spouts out of this if there's any rotation, and obviously you're going to see some very heavy rain and strong winds imminently.
I was curious if you can show us the bow echo again. I want to see what it looks like there on your radar so we can kind of know what we're looking at there.
Anytime you see a radar that's bulging, it kind of looks like a comma. That's what we mean. My computer's kind of...
And so when it hits that warm water, Kathy, it affects it. It does things to this storm.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually going to help to fuel the storm because, remember, there's my bow echo. See how the radar kind of sticks out? It's almost like a comma. And that is a signature that we look for on Doppler radar for any type of wind damage. And you'll see it on Doppler radars a lot when you have strong storms like this. And that's all heading across the bay. The water in the bay is probably close to 80 degrees. We had water off of Lewis, Delaware around 80, 82 degrees. So that's very warm water. So that means this storm isn't weakening as it goes over the water. The water will be fuel to propel that to go over parts of Cumberland and Cape May County as some torrential rain.
Yeah. All right, Kathy. Well, at this point, I think it's safe to assume there's a good chance we could have more warnings tonight. So stand by for that. Make sure you have the FOX29 weather app downloaded on your phone. For one, you can look at the radar specifically yourself. You can zoom in. You can try to identify those bow shapes, just as Kathy's been teaching us how to do. But you can see down to your neighborhood, specifically when severe parts of this storms might be moving in. But this is a huge, huge storm, and we're still seeing those outer bands just starting to work their way into our area.
Yeah, guys, I mean, this is obviously a huge rainmaker, and we're going to be seeing more heavy rain coming up from South Jersey, and we're going to be seeing a little bit of a break over Philadelphia, but more coming up from the eastern shore of Maryland and north and west. Expect this to go on possibly into the overnight.